You guys, I'm very excited about our guest this week. Also hailing from Australia, our good friend Rocco of Rocco's Modern Life.
Oh, wow.
We tried to get Heifer, but we're not a good enough podcast to get Heifer.
And we won't accept Filbert as a guest.
Yeah, his hands are too dirty. He's got to wash them.
But we will take Filbert's hot wife.
Oh, yeah, he does have a hot wife, and she's got a hook for a hand. She seems like she would be a commando.
I agree. I'm
commando and medic, actually, now that I think about it. If I recall correctly, she was a
doctor.
You're
right, because she is, in fact, a dentist.
Oh, she's a dentist, yeah. I guess that would be more of a synergist than a doctor, but...
I feel like she would be...
Before any dentists that listen to our podcast, all three of you, maybe, get mad at me. My sister's a dental hygienist. I can talk shit.
I feel like Rocco would be the synergist, right? Because he's just always there helping out, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Either that or a Ravager. I'm not sure one of the two.
Yeah. He also doesn't wear pants.
And he doesn't wear pants like Ravagers don't in this game.
Filbert's whatever the fuck Hope is. Just a fucking buzzkill.
I was going to say he's a saboteur. Sabotaging my good time.
I forget...
or wait, he's a turtle, though. He'd be a great sentinel.
Yeah, that's true. He is always in his shell as well.
Which is why he's the snow analog, because he also has tummy aches a lot.
Makes sense, yeah.
I forget what made me think about this, but I was thinking, like, there's no good reason for this to not be the case, but I really wish Seinfeld was in the public domain so that we could just get, like, an animated series of all the Seinfeld characters, but not tied to, like, the actual monster Jerry Seinfeld, you know, like...
or a, like, B-horror film in the Seinfeld universe.
Yeah, or
like they're doing with Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, or like any of like the shitty, or I guess they're not really shitty, the current day Seinfeld tweets or whatever. It's like Jerry has an iPad or something, or the shit post version of it where it's like Kramer and Jerry with one R get iPad and fight over color of dress or whatever. But I was just thinking of like how good it would be to have like Seinfeld characters in Final Fantasy and stuff, and it's just like, hey Jerry, we're going to Nautilus, the city of dreams.
I was gonna say, according to our podcast, like they may as well be.
Yeah, true. But I just when I was getting ready for this this chapter, I knew that things were bound to turn dark with the way that all the setup has been going with Vanille and Sazh. And I was just thinking about how it seems like a very Seinfeld thing. It's like the summer of George, like, oh, it's the summer of Sazh. Like,
the summer of Sazh,
go to the happiest
baby.
place on Cocoon. We're going to Nautilus, baby.
Well, I know that we haven't like done introductions or anything yet, but I think I said last time, but my first note that I have here is the two saddest people in the world go to the happiest place on earth. So that'll be fun. Speaking of which, this is the Every FNFF podcast. My name's Curtis.
I'm Carl.
I'm Alex. The Every FNFF podcast, the podcast of dreams.
So we finally made it to Nautilus. We're finally checking in with our homies Sazh and Vanille. And
why did Sazh want to come here?
I miss them so much. I'm so glad to see them again. They're going in the opposite direction of where the
other team
fighters were going. Yeah, they saw the...
They're going towards Washington, D.C., so we're going to Florida, where
exactly.
Disney World is. What could possibly go wrong?
They saw the military heading toward Palimpolum, knew that lightning was going to be there, and was like, hey, let's not go there. That sounds like a bad idea.
But what if we went somewhere even cooler?
Itchy and Scratchy land.
Itchy and Scratchy land.
Sazh is dead.
Mom, Dad, Sazh is dead. Yeah, I'm glad to be back in their company.
Dream team.
Glad to have just two party members again.
The music is very, gold saucery.
I was gonna say it goes like I
just played this game and that's all I can hear in my head. It's just the gold saucer.
I literally don't remember the song that's playing here from my playthrough, and I can only hear gold saucers. I'm like watching my playthrough on mute.
I kind of wish I got more visualization of how they get from one place to the other. Like we do see them at like the dock waiting to get on. I guess is this a giant cruise, or are we in like a actual city?
I think that we're on a city. I think that we're on at least like a beachside resort.
Or is it like Mother Base and like Metal Gear Solid where we're like on a barge somewhere?
It could be. I think that we're on like a seaside resort, but I'm not certain. It could be. It could be like a real Xanarkand out there in the water.
It's oh god damn it, I forgot about that. Stop bringing that up, Curtis. I'm trying to forget.
Cocoon map. Let's see what Nautilus looks like from.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to envision. It's like we obviously can see where we are from the inside, but like even looking at the mini map, like it kind of doesn't really make a whole lot of sense of how this would fit on like the actual world. So I'd be interested to see it from another angle. But it's all very cool. It's nice looking.
This one does look like it is in a it's an islandy resort. It looks like it's either on a sandbar, kind of very much almost in the middle of the ocean, or it's just like actually like a floating like man-made barge just off the coast.
That's why Sazh said on an island in the sun, we'll be playing and having fun.
That's right.
Yep.
It's from this game. Sazh and Vanille arrive. They're at the gates, right? And I guess they don't have to buy a pass. I guess you can just go. Actually, I guess that is kind of how.
Maybe we had to buy one before we got on, but because we hopped through the gate, we didn't have to.
Sazh got lifetime passes for when he was going to come last time. He's got what's the bracelet called? The Fitbit?
Yeah,
I forgot. They get the little express thing going on.
Maybe you don't have to pay to go to Nautilus. Like maybe that's kind of a part of the world, is that like because the Foul Sea keep all the humans as pets, you know what I mean? They're just like, it was
built by Sanctum, so it could be government funded.
That's true too.
True, but I don't think that would stop
mandatory
them from taking. Yeah, it's not like the government is using it for any type of like propaganda or anything, at least. So that's good. We don't get any one-sided view of history or anything. That's good.
But yeah, so they arrive. They're at the entrance gate, right? And like Vanille looks kind of sick, I guess, or something. She's
been mopey ever since the last interaction.
Yeah,
Sazh is like, of course I hate Pulse. They're all a bunch of rats.
Right. They're all the worst people I've ever met, and I want to punch them in the stomach.
The only good Pulsean is a dead Pulsean.
Yeah.
And Sazh asks if she's seasick, and she's like, "Oh no, I'm fine. I'm good. And he's like, "All right then, let's get going." He notices that there's not a lot of security at Nautilus. Like it seems to be like he says for these people, the Lassie panic seems like a world away. But
same thing happened in Disney post 9/11. No one was bothered by it.
That's right.
I think didn't they actually close Disney for that?
Maybe.
They're like, if we close down Disney World, the terrorists will win.
But so in Nautilus, there's like several of these. Like, have you ever been to like Disneyland or an airport? You'll see those like those large like readouts of like when planes are arriving or when events are happening. Mm-hmm. And there's one of those, and Sazh is looking at it, and he's like, "Oh hey, they're putting Eidolons on parade. It's starting soon. What do you say? Let's go check it out. Get ready now." But he wants to go see the parade, and Vanille like just says sure, like, and that's it, right? So she's not like.
And then the news is on for some reason at this theme park,
and then all the
news,
all the televisions that they see flip to the news, right? And I did skip a little where you can walk around during this, but I figure we can just cover that in a second.
Yeah.
So all the televisions change to a breaking news report, and we see the footage of Lightning and Hope, and in that arena, right? And all the
I love anytime in games, or I guess in shows, where they show footage from something that happened elsewhere, and it's always camera angles of like implying that those camera angles we saw were also what people are.
Yeah,
actual cameras were.
right.
Impossibly close to Lightning and Hope as they're squaring up against Psycom.
Yeah, like this is just the FMV. It's not even.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's why we see we get to see the Nissan ad again.
Yeah, you do that. But they kind of mention that like, okay, the Lassie have attacked. They've attacked Palimpolim. They surfaced. They're still on the run, and they kind of spin it, I guess, in such a way that they're like, we've confirmed the presence of hostages. They've taken hostages, right? And it's like, well, we didn't really take hostages, but I see how they could think that. With like,
maybe this is the story that the whole thing with Hope's dad.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I was
shit,
thinking,
they're taking hostages now.
I was thinking like, good, they fell for it.
Yeah, so Sazh and Vanille see that, and Sazh sees it and he's like, "Oh, lightning's there." And then he looks at Vanille, and Vanille's like, "Holy shit!" Looking at the screen and just says, "It's her." Like she notices that Fang's there, right?
Yeah.
She hasn't seen Fang since she got pushed out of Uriday Gorge.
Right.
Yeah, this was actually like a powerful moment for me. I'm like, holy shit! Like, yeah, this is the first time that she's seeing like to us, Fang's an old
2
friend
weeks-ish,
by now.
maybe?
Yeah.
Because that was day 5.
Yeah.
And this game starts at day 13. So yeah, it's been a while. It's been a week.
I mean,
and
I feel like
change.
I'd get tired of running from the authorities after like a couple hours. So even if
Yeah,
this is only like a
easily.
week or so, like, yeah, I could imagine that's like, oh my god, she still lives. And Sazh is like, he kind of muses like, oh, the army's finally found him, and he hears banter from the people around him, right? And like one man's like, oh, hostages, they should just blow them away along with the Lassie. And it's like,
Yeah.
you
The
son
worst
of a
fucking
bitch.
person in the world at the happiest place on Cocoon.
I know,
Like,
I know. And that like entirely reminds me of real people too.
yeah.
That's Florida, baby. I'm sure there's a lot of good Floridians.
Oh yeah, of course. They're in a fate almost as bad as death, where they're in the shit and everyone just always makes fun of their state or their plight because it's easy. Like it's like that's like anything in that.
I can imagine this type of thing being said. Overhearing this type of thing being said at Disney World is all.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right. The woman next to him says they're all infected by pulse or something by now anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And Vanille's clearly like kind of sad about that, and Sazh just go, the parade's about to start. Let's go. And so he tries to
Let's take
like,
our mind off of it.
let's try to take our mind off this, right?
Yeah, this whole role reversal where the beginning of the game, Vanille's like, everything will be just fine. Let's keep moving. And now like Sazh has to be the one to kind of tug Vanille along.
I love that they're barely keeping it together, and like when one is so down they just cannot go on, the other one has to like be just positive enough just to drag themselves along a little further. It's like very sad, but it's very like powerful, right?
Reminds me of like being in a band, like if you're having a bad day but like your singer is having an even worse day, you got to be like, okay, well, I have to be the strong one to try and rally everyone before the show. So
yeah.
A married couple at Home Depot.
I also like the footage of Fang that Vanille gets to see is like the most kick-ass footage of her, where it's like her just going right towards the news camera, I guess we can assume is what it is, and she's just firing a gun on the back of Snow's like Eidolon motorcycle. It's like, fuck
They
yeah,
have
dude.
been shooting out cameras we saw with some of Roche's little like his stream cam. They were busting
Oh
out
yeah.
little drones. But yeah, we can start walking around now, and there's the theme of this area is that it's apparently very crowded. I mean, for PS3 standards, yes, it is very crowded.
I can't remember.
But it feels like a normal day at the mall to me, like during the week.
Yeah, so I think in terms of like the functionality of why it's crowded, like in game, like in the game universe, is we have to like get to certain points in order to like progress the story. But it's like very weird because when you first get there's like a big crowd just blocking an area where you just have to walk around like an access ramp, basically like an accessibility ramp to get past them, and then like you watch a cutscene and then you can go back and like the crowd has dissipated. And it's
Yeah,
like, oh,
I think it's
true.
kind of
okay,
make
okay.
it feel big, maybe, so we don't just walk straight into a cutscene
Yeah,
right away.
That's true.
It's to kind of make us like, see, look at all this. I think right now we're like in the entrance, because this does feel more like an airport terminal than in like a park right now.
Yeah.
And where we start, there's like almost like a turnstile, like a
I do see trains and stuff around too in the background moving, like little light rails, which are cool.
Yeah,
Confirmed train that still works in this game.
I think I looked at one point and like panned the camera back, and an NPC was just like walking along like it's set path or whatever, but it was clipping right through the turnstile, like, which I don't know if it's supposed to be a hologram or whatever. It read to me as like, oh, I saw something that the game didn't necessarily want me to see.
I saw that too.
And I was just like, oh my god,
escalator.
they're hopping the turnstile. No one tell SciComm.
Yeah, there are tenants everywhere who all look like sci-fi busboys.
Yeah, they're wearing like half of a CD on their head.
I was gonna say that. I wrote that in my notes. They have like hats that are just half of a vinyl.
Yeah.
Those are gold saucers.
Yeah, they're little
they
half
are.
gold
They're
saucers.
half of a gold saucer.
There's one NPC who's just like a park goer, I think, and she's wearing a hat that has like these weird flaps on it.
Wait,
and I
hold
looked
on.
at it, and I thought it was.
Is it the one picture I worked very hard to get a giant picture of?
Yes, that is the exact one. And I saw that NPC and I was like, holy shit. Is that a Persicom from Chobits? Like, has she got the cool, like, chi ears? And then I looked close. I was like, oh, no, that's just, like, a cool hat, which is also good, I guess.
I took a picture of some NPC dialogue while I was walking around.
Oh, there's a ton of that.
There is.
There's a ton of it.
They spent a long time trying to get all of it for the Japanese script. And
God bless you. Like,
there's one that's not even that funny, but I thought it was funny because inside I am 5 years old. And they were just like, hey, if you're going to come to the City of Dreams, you got to let it all hang out. And I was like,
that shitty asshole who was like, oh, like, we should just kill all the hostages and, you know, whatever, like that fucking guy. He says something to further prove that he's just a huge fucking asshole. He's like, whoa, what a close call. I was just in Palumpolum yesterday. Like, he clearly only gives a shit about himself, which is very shitty.
Yeah.
This
that's not me.
Boo on this man.
This area, like with all these NPC, like there's a lot of really cool, like interesting kind of little flavor text that every NPC kind of says something different and a little bit of world building, but it definitely reads like a podcast where there's too much latency because you walk up into like the radius of like two NPCs at once that are just standing next to each other, and they both are, I guess, supposed to be talking to one another, but they're just both saying their own things completely independent of one another over one another. I'm like, yeah, it sounds like the every FNFF podcast.
I was going to say, it's like we talk to each other.
They just prioritize getting the trigger, like proximity trigger working and not like a playlist of like back and forth going.
Yeah, exactly.
I like towards the exit to this area, there's just like a bunch of guys just getting real like, they look like a bunch of dads just like talking about chocobos.
Yeah, they're probably living it. I'm loving that for them.
The chocobo corral's great. Wild, open, full of birds. They even let you pet them.
Think I'll buy me one of them chocobo chicks to take home. They sell them at the corral, don't they?
The sheep are better than the chocobos. I can't get enough of that fluff.
I can't get enough of that fluff.
Just talking about bows.
Hell yeah, man.
Bros and bows.
Amen, brother.
That's us in the Final Fantasy 13 universe right there. It's a bunch of dudes standing around an amusement park being like, damn, them chocobos sick as fuck. Can't get enough of that fluff.
Do you see that one guy with the sick tattoos?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, there was like a few guys maybe, right?
He's wearing like, it's hard to tell if it's like actually tattoos or a design on his shirt, but it's almost like I think it is tattoos. He's wearing like a weird like Besaid style like outfit where there's like pieces of fabric. It almost looks like overalls or suspenders, and then like he's just got like glowing like white gold like tribal tattoos all over like his shoulders and stuff. I think he's one of these Choco Bros, and he's talking about how he's going to have an allergic reaction to the darned things.
Damn, we should have called the podcast the Choco Bros. But
damn, dude.
It's too late now.
It's all right. It's not like there's a Chocobo in every Final Fantasy game.
I love all the weird instant dialogue because there's people it's like, man, it's crowded. And like, what was one guy said? Like, the first ride must be crowd surfing.
Yeah, I saw that one too. That was good. I didn't see that one.
That one's good. I like how Alex, you were saying
Nautilus, yes. Some guy alone just real hyped up.
Yeah, just alone by himself screaming.
What the fuck's up, Nautilus?
I like how you were talking about this section to me, Alex, and you're like, yeah, everyone just keeps talking about how crowded this place is, but it looks like basically like dead mall traffic for the most part. Like the amount of people that are there, it's like at some points they're all clustered together, so they're blocking your way, so you have to go around a ramp or whatever. But like it's mostly just like a handful of people. This is
this seems very manageable to me.
Yeah, my anxiety would still spike up a little bit, but not quite.
My mid-pandemic like a COVID anxiety would not be kicking in too hard.
Yeah.
Not until the parade.
This is in the pre-Dead Rising days where they couldn't just throw a whole bunch of bullshit into a game and have it all, somehow work.
This ain't Hyrule Warriors or shit.
Yeah, because the frame rate's actually good.
Speaking of the parade, right? The next thing we do is kind of walk out of this section, and in the transition between this opening area and the next area where we actually go see the Eidolon parade, there's a small exchange with Sazh and Vanille where he's like trying to cheer her up. He's like, oh, loosen up, gotta make the most of it. And she doesn't say anything back to him. She's just kind of like 1,000 miles away,
He's
right?
like, yeah, right.
Yeah. And we get a voiceover of her.
I knew we'd be saying goodbye soon. Better to do it with a smile.
And then we go on to the next scene.
Aw.
I know. Oh, it's oof. A lot of weight in this section.
Yeah, I'm like curious what she means by that, by the goodbye. Like, oh, are we gonna get caught? Or are we gonna like something bad's gonna happen? Or
I
she's
figured
gonna
that
come clean?
I think it's like the weight of her guilt is
That's what I was
really,
thinking.
really starting to sink in. And she's like, well, I need this guy's better off without me. Like I ruined his life.
that's kind of how I was taking it. Yeah. But we get to the next section. The parade is starting, and Vanille lets us know.
Do you know what the parade is called?
She says in the narration, it's called the Pompa Sancta Parade, a pageant commemorating the war between Cocoon and Pulse.
Yeah, so I meant to look up like etymology of that because my initial reaction to that was just like, this name is dumb as fuck. But then I was like, maybe it's actually a very thoughtful thing where like, you know, like when Corey was on and he was talking about how it was like the names of the bosses corresponded to like actual like gods and stuff. And I was just like, oh, interesting. But I was just Pompa Sanctum, stop throwing dumb fucking words at me. Okay. Oh, no. Okay. So Pompa Sanctum, the etymology according to fandom is holy procession or parade.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the fact that it's a holy procession kind of puts this next scene into another kind of context as well, I guess.
There's a very tenuous separation between like technology and religion in the Final Fantasy XIII world. And I think that's probably just because of the existence of fallacy everywhere. Yeah,
and everything is just kind of controlled by the sanctum and you know.
But yeah, this is a really cool FMV.
Oh, it's really good.
But yeah, it's everyone's getting around this parade. It doesn't really feel as much like a parade, but I'm sure like a lot of this is like passing by on the street. Like they just kind of play on loop. If this is a hologram or actually, I think there's dialogue later by NPCs that is actually a performance, not just like a hologram that's going on.
Yeah.
Like there are cast members. It's a very like Cirque du Soleil, but like way more magical and shit.
Yeah, I was thinking like this is like if you called the fireworks show at Disney a parade. It's like no, the parade's a different thing, and they probably also have that. Yeah, it starts off. We see a cool like holographic I assume like clock that's kind of spinning around.
It's our Crystarium.
I wanted to point the clock out actually because throughout this section Nautilus is very like complex. There's a lot of areas to it, but there's one thing that you can see from any section that we go to, and that is a clock on a tower off in the distance. Interestingly, that clock has 13 hours on it, and I was like, hey, Final Fantasy 13, let's go.
Now, the interesting thing about that is I think we had a similar conversation in the season about...
The Fal'Cie just wants an extra hour of work a day from everyone. The 9-hour work day.
No 3-day weekends. I'm pretty sure when we were in the Temple of the Ancients, there's that clock puzzle, and there is a 13th hour on there as well. And I think we were like, oh, that's kind of weird. And then we looked into it, and that's like a way more common thing than
probably in like some sort of Japanese folklore, because like Persona has that too, where there's like an extra hour of the night that only like certain people can experience and stuff. So I'm sure that's like kind of part of the culture there, where like the 13th hour is just a trope.
And also everything in this game has 13.
Everything is 13.
There's 13 chapters.
There's
this is
13 chapters, the 13 days. Yeah,
we've been in the month of Smarch the entire game. I am seeing on Wikipedia that
pretty good for Smarch weather.
There's an 18th century London legend of a clock that struck 13 times and saved a man's life. The story goes that St. Paul's Cathedral clock on one occasion struck 13 bongs of the bell at midnight.
It was so fucking turn up.
Yo, crunk. that's what Zoomers say, right? Getting crunked by smoking bongs 13 times. But yeah, the result was saving the life of a soldier accused of sleeping at his post. Okay. Well, that's London,
which is hitting 13 bongs.
Yeah, I mean that's take that how it is London, so it's not a real place. You know. So.
Take that.
I refuse to believe in a London after the Queen's death, so.
Yeah, this cool.
Carl was
hologram.
a secret monarchist the whole time. It didn't let any of us know, but he's real
Did you
into
say
that shit.
anarchist?
Monarchist.
No.
Oh yeah. I didn't know if you were joking here. If you really
Yeah,
didn't hear it. Okay. I'm sorry.
But yes, the show is starting. The clock.
It's bonging. The clock be bonging.
It's so many bongs.
And
But there's like multiple lanterns flying around the sky above this kind of clock centerpiece to this parade.
it is raining CDs, baby.
Oh my god,
It
this
is.
Friend of the pod, Ninnies, would be real excited about this.
Yeah.
Vanille reaches up and grabs one, and it's Alien Ant Farm's Anthology, which is really sick.
my first CD.
Can't wait till she listens to Attitude. It seems like it would be very good for her soul right now.
But a hologram of Carbuncle comes out.
Oh, is that who that is?
Yeah, it's voiced by Chris Pratt. It says, "It's party time, little lady."
It says, "Hey, yo, let me get a fucking New York slice. I'm fucking Mario. Let's go to a Broadway show."
It's party time, little lady.
That was nice to I remember episodes ago being like, I think that's Carbuncle. I'm pretty sure that's a
The plushie. And I was like, oh yes, it's like the Mickey Mouse of this world. And the next episode we were in Disney World where Mickey Mouse of this world is Carbuncle.
Yeah,
Interestingly, the Carbuncle doesn't look anything like the real Carbuncle, right? Like we've seen Carbuncle and it's a big two-headed
Well,
geometric.
that's where it
thing.
sleeps. That's where it lives, right?
I thought that was it. 'Cause I feel
Because
like the Falsi
from
are
my
like,
understanding so far is that like every Falsi we've seen has been like in a vessel. Same with like Anima, like what is contained within the crystal at its heart, and it just has like it's like Ghost in the Shell shit, where it's just like the thing that is inhabiting is like this giant robot thing with manipulators.
oh, maybe
Same
so.
with like Carbuncle, we see the giant thing with like a giant yellow crystal in the core of it. I don't know yet if like Falsies have like actual physical forms, or if they just inhabit things.
I think I figured it out. There's been a lot of memes about the biblically accurate angels. I think that's what Falsi actually look like. So, we get the cute little cherub babies and stuff in all our...
This is the Veggie Tales.
Well, that's what I was wondering.
If
I was wondering if
you
we
like
see
to talk
or like
to
the way they're
tomatoes.
presented to us is as these like cute little things, right? But in reality, the cocoonly accurate Falsi are these like giant beasts or these
Yeah.
We saw the real Carbuncle. This is like the brand.
This is like the carb nephew.
That's what I'm wondering. Yeah.
yeah, the Carb.
Very good.
It is very, very, very small and extremely cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has like a kind of cat / like bat kind of complexion.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit like it has hind legs, so actually it has hooves. So maybe it's supposed to be more like a goat or a sheep. Which actually made
Wearing
more
a little
sense.
frilly collar.
Probably got neutered,
It looks like a dang Digimon.
but
True.
it flies off. So I guess everyone has a little Carbuncle. They name your gender on site and then fly away.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking that too. I was like,
Does
ugh.
everyone say little lady or what?
Yeah, it is a very cute line, and the delivery is really cute. But yeah, it is also pronounced. So, but yeah, it says it's party time, little lady.
The voice, because it had like a hologram voice, it reminded me of the first robot you meet in New Vegas, who's like the little cowboy guy who's like a real yes man of a.
Bender.
Victor.
He reminded me of Victor.
I gotta look that up now.
Yes, it was Victor.
It was Victor. Okay, good.
He's got a little bit of twang, and he's got the little the little robot filter on it. So it just reminded me of Victor from New Vegas.
So good. But yeah, we see that Vanille's Carbuncle fly off and do some cool stunts as it flies and is met with a bunch of other Carbuncle holograms that all do kind of like a synchronized swim sort of dance.
Yeah, they can.
Can I point out that I think in the world of Cocoon, a parade has an entirely different meaning, because I feel like a parade in our world has to do with like a procession, and in their world it means a laser show.
Yeah.
Because like
this is like Floyd. Yeah.
yeah, everybody just stands around a hologram that appears in front of them and just like plays a short movie essentially. And I was like, that's not a parade. That's not what a parade is.
Yeah, like
a
I
parade
went to
implies
the,
motion.
Apparently, parade as a verb means to walk or march in like a form of procession, but
Oh,
and in the noun itself doesn't really say anything about movement.
Oh,
it's
really?
Like a festival. Yeah.
Damn, I'll just.
It just means like a showcase of different things in a row, kind of like Cats or the Nutcracker,
Damn. Well, I guess.
which are both parades because it's just like, here's this thing, now here's this thing.
Good
Well, I
thing I
guess
was-
we're the
parade.
dumbasses then.
I was like, good thing I was so hungry because I just ate my words.
With a side of crow.
But Carl, you pointed out like as they come together, a bunch of blue hologram dancers come out, and then the race we are familiar with, which is the musician race from Final Fantasy X, appears. This bird person playing a harp.
Yeah, and when we say bird person, we don't mean the type of bird person from 10. It's a person wearing like a headdress that looks like a bird.
Like Bjork.
Yeah, very Bjork.
This is Bjork.
In this world, Bjork's fashion is just normal. And the Joker is...
It's a world where Bjork's fashion is normal.
But yeah, it expands out from the harpist.
I can imagine like trying to pitch a movie to an executive, like when they call it the elevator pitch, where you have just enough time from like, you know, the ground floor to their office to pitch a movie, and you're just like, listen, a world where Bjork's clothes are normal. Give this man money.
A world
Finance
where
this
silly
movie.
string is just regular string.
Crazy bones are just bones.
But yeah, it's a pretty cool cinematic. They got some like ribbon dancing. Yeah.
Looks like they're on like this whole kind of aesthetic reminds me a lot of 10, partially because of like dancing on water. The mocap does make it look like they were kind of like hanging from like harnesses because their legs are just kind of free hanging. It doesn't look like they're...
Oh yeah, so it could be like the I forget what the art form is called, but the ribbons that hang from, you know, you like suspend yourself with the ribbons and all of that.
Like during the Super Bowl performance by Creed.
Oh man, I don't even think I'm familiar with that somehow.
It's incredible.
Hell yeah.
Like in a way.
But shortly after the water performance and dance happens, it from the center emerges and engulfs everything, a flame, and there are flame dancers now.
Yeah.
Oh, no, bad times ahead.
And from the center erupts a like, it almost looks like Ifrit kind of.
I
Yeah, that
think
was
it's
what
supposed
I
to be
thought.
Ifrit, yeah.
Yeah.
With Lassie, who's kind of his like master or like servant.
Yeah,
and he's
they're-
like doing his like very theatrical like. The subtitles say "Evil Lassie."
Yeah.
With pulse-born spite and savage might, I will destroy Cocoon!
He's like this little impish man who has like big parachute pants and like a little metal. He actually kind of looks like a little Dark Souls villain.
Yeah. The subtitles also have the other group. They're known as the Good Lassie, and this is a hot take here, but I think that the cool ones are the Good Lassie, and the evil Lassie are actually not cool.
I think there's good Lassie on both sides. Anyway.
Oh no!
No!
From our perspective.
But
the design of the small Lassie does look like a little imp. It's very
Yeah, he's
cute.
got like MC Hammer pants on. Like
I do like that while this is going on, and like you said, like there's also a good Lassie appears and they kind of fight. Sazh narrates a little bit of it, like not in voiceover, but like in the scene, right, to Vanille, or well, really to himself. Maybe
he knows that she needs a history lesson. You know?
Yeah,
They're basically kind of hinting that like, oh, this is like a demonstration of like the history of Cocoon and
Right.
like our triumph and stuff, instead of like, oh yeah, here comes the attack on Pulse. We're talking about Ifrit and
Yeah.
the evil Lassie.
and it's clear that he knows it like at least somewhat intimately, probably just because he's born on Cocoon and
The stories.
and the stories. Yeah, exactly. Everybody knows them, but you can see that while he's saying it, he is like not smiling, and he's almost like repeating it as just like a mantra. Like he's not even like he's not really
Yeah.
even talking to Vanille. He's just saying it out loud, and I thought that was like a very nice touch.
He
that
looks
he's kinda
like pissed.
It's
yeah.
become reality a little bit. He looks a little focused, like a little wistful, like, oh yeah, like if it was, you know, if reality was only as simple as this.
Yeah.
He said, "Here comes the attack from Pulse," and he's like kind of like got a pissed off look on his face. And at first, when I saw that, I thought he was like scoffing at it, but I was like, oh no, that's probably just me projecting that. I know that this is probably bullshit.
I mean,
But
maybe.
but I mean, like, and it goes back to what he was saying to Vanille. He's like, oh yeah, older folks like me, we don't really believe in that tabloid shit. But also, his life was turned completely upside down because of all this shit with Pulse. So he might just be like, you know, it might be working on him.
there's definitely like a recontextualization in his life, right? That he's seeing this for the first time after becoming a lessee, and it means something different to him.
And his son also becoming a lessee, probably.
Yeah. So
things are way more complicated now that he represents Pulse, and his son now is a Cocoon.
Oh, that was a very good like directorial choice there.
Yeah.
We see Ifrit kind of doing cool flamethrowery moves and like vaporizing. It's not like violent per se, but it just like it wisps by like some of the blue dancers and they just like dissipate to represent.
Yeah, it's like in plays when people throw out a bunch of red ribbons to be like blood.
Very interpretive dance.
Yeah.
But then from like a whirlpool emerges a triumphant good lessee with, I'm not sure what this summon is, but it's very blue. It has also
Ramu.
Oh,
is this Ramu? Nice.
It's got a cool gold helmet, and also like there's lots of circles and loops and stuff. But he's being held in the hand by the Fal'Cie.
Ramu is in 7, right?
Probably.
Yes.
Okay. I remember y'all blew my fucking mind when this is the first game we've played with Carbuncle in it, and I couldn't believe it. So when I saw this, I was like, is this the first game with Ramu as well? Like another character that's in so many games?
I forget where we get the materia for Ramu, but it's like not optional, or like I guess it is optional. Like you might miss it.
Sure.
You get at the gold saucer.
Oh,
nice.
There you go.
Perfect.
But he also does a rhyme which says, "With trusty blade and Fal'Cie's aid, I will defend Cocoon."
In darkest day and in blackest night, no evil shall escape my might.
And they're like, facing awful anime style Ramu with his like a bow, it looks like, or something like that. The two Fal'Cie have like busting like fists, and while they're clashing, the two lessee jump off and do kind of a midair like battle as well.
Right.
Like, you dare oppose me? It's very anime, and they're bouncing off each other.
The evil lessee says, "I must fulfill my focus," and like explodes into like a weird like dark fire energy ball or whatever.
Yeah.
And out from it comes a new creature that we haven't seen yet. And it's like a weird demon bird or something like that. It's hard to describe. And as soon as it comes out, like it comes out, everybody in the crowd sees it, and the camera like zooms in on Vanille, right? And she looks right at it and goes, "Ragnarok." Like she recognizes this creature.
Yeah.
And have we heard the name? This is the first time we've heard Ragnarok.
No,
right?
they mentioned it.
No, that was one of the first things that we heard. Remember, that was the focus. Like that's the one thing when everyone was kind of being like, "Oh, I just like," when Hope was like, "I saw this."
That's right.
I saw something like a giant towering, and they were just like, "Ragnarok."
Okay, that's right.
There's two monsters that are...
Yeah, so Ragnarok looks more like it's got like almost bull horns that go like very out far.
Yeah.
And then the good sea summons like Evre, which looks more like a dragon. But
I thought maybe it was like Quetzalcoatl or like even Baleful maybe or something.
Leviathan or something.
Yeah.
Find out in Final Fantasy 16. Summon special.
But Ragnarok has these tendrils of fire that are going everywhere, and then the Leviathan plows into it, and it's a big old explosion, like happy fireworks.
Yeah. So happy that it brings a tear to Vanille's eyes.
Yeah. So that's like the end of the parade, right? Is seeing those two 3D projections of these
those VTubers
those VTubers of the creatures smashing into each other, and everybody cheers, right? Because like according to
Dude, the crowd's going fucking buck wild.
They're going nuts.
It's the most patriotic thing they've ever seen.
There's some shots from the distance of them like just going fucking crazy,
and like and to them,
good lessee always wins.
Yeah, in their history,
that
is
a bad lessee. A bad lessee with an Eidolon is a good lessee with an Eidolon.
But yeah, because that's their like history. So like in to them, that's like the victory of good in their past. So they're all like cheering, and like Vanille from the other side, who is from Pulse, right, is just like, oh shit, and she cries. She like some tears come down her face, right. And she says in narration, she's like, "Could our deaths have brought peace?"
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Oh my gosh, that is rough."
Yeah, the vibe that I get from this scene is that Vanille just had to like witness like her 9/11 and just a bunch of people around her like, "Fuck yeah, this rules. This is great."
USA.
Like the most traumatic thing that she's experienced, and everyone's like, "Fuck yeah, this rules. Pass me some popcorn, dude."
But yeah, it's a rough scene. I think that's what I like so much about this part of the game too, is that like it's so happy, right? Like everything is a celebration, but knowing that what we know now, everything that happens is actually quite tragic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's I love when anything does that, you know, like a song that sounds happy but it's sad. Like, ugh, give me that shit always.
Anything by Streetlight Manifesto.
Yeah, everything went numb.
Oh, nice. Yeah, so that scene's over. I like that the next scene opens up on an advertisement for Carbuncle dolls. Yeah, which is really good.
Yeah, I wonder what this says.
It actually says Nautilus because
Oh,
the
nice.
first one's an N, the second one, it's a very stylized version of the alphabet. But yeah, it just says Nautilus.
Nice.
I've learned to recognize it now.
Sazh, Sazh still trying to cheer up Vanille.
He's
he
trying so hard.
down in her dumps. He kind of echoes what Carbuncle said, and he said,
Where to next, little lady?
Doing his little voice is very cute.
Yeah, I love both of them.
Yeah, and she's just like, she's on the bench just kind of still moping, but she's like, yeah, I'll let you decide.
Dude, she says, I'll let you decide. And then there's a shot of her. And in voiceover, she says, just keep smiling. And I was like, I don't think I've ever seen a 3D model of a character look so fucking sad in my entire life.
Yeah.
Like, dude,
This is on par with those cats that are like tearing up. Just like, what did you do to her? What did you do?
We gotta add the sad, like, Steve Buscemi eyes to her here. Like,
I messaged my girlfriend at that point, and I was just like, I think I might have to break playing this into 2 sections because it's getting me a little in my feels right now.
I'm trying to think of an analog, like if Disney World was built in kind of in a memorial about like a victory over like a certain country and then some other countries. It's just like,
a victory against the Native Americans.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
This is the Christopher Columbus Memorial Theme Park.
Oh, God.
Yeah. It would be like, the Christopher Columbus Memorial Theme Park, and you're visiting and you're a Native American.
Yeah, but Sazh is really going hard with this, and I really like this inversion of a scene that we saw earlier, where he's like, oh, I know what we can do. A Nautilus Park date with Sazh. And it's like...
Lucky day.
Yeah, like when he was really glum and distant and far away, Vanille was the flirty one being like, oh, I bet you can't keep your eyes off me, such a cute girl. Like, and he was
then
just
he just
like,
went
I'm
to
going to
sleep.
go and fucking puke. Like, I'm going to go and take a shit. Like, I wanted nothing to do it. And now it's like the opposite of that. And he's like, oh, she liked to flirt with me when she was like feeling happy. I'm gonna do that back a little bit.
Yeah, right. He's trying so hard. I appreciate it.
It didn't read to me as like him being like, ooh, I'm flirting or anything. It's like he's like he knows that this is the language that she likes to speak, so he's doing that for her.
Right.
It's matching the vibe.
He's
I feel
"Would a
so bad for
smile kill
Sazh
you?
right now.
You should smile more. You know, it's great. It's nothing wrong with that. Parody.
But yeah, now we're kind of in the, I guess like kind of the main part of the park, right?
Yeah.
I forget what they call this place.
I like how as they're getting ready to figure out where they're going next, Sazh is way too optimistic because he says, forget about that heavy stuff for a while and maybe this will all just fade away.
Yeah.
we're gonna hang out here and wait for this to blow over. When Sazh says like, oh, this thing will fade away, he's like kind of like pointing at his chest, and the shot zooms in and we can see just a little bit of his brand. So it's like, yeah,
it looks like chest hair. Cyber chest hair.
But it's also kind of like, yeah, this is not gonna fade away because we know what happens if you just like don't do anything and
these colors don't fade.
These colors don't fade.
But yeah, we get a nice sweep over, and like, yeah, it looks like a very beautiful kind of tropical themed building hub.
There's
they got nice palm trees and stuff.
As we're walking through this area, there's more NPCs who we can overhear. They're talking, right? And you know how we were saying earlier, we were talking about like the 3D Eidolon that was like playing the harp and it had like the hair that was kind of wings or whatever. Mm-hmm. That is reminiscent of a summon that's in many, many games, which is Siren.
Yes.
And there's somebody in this section who goes, "Oh, my sweet siren, you're more entrancing every time." And I wrote in my notes, "Man down bad for the falsy."
I recently picked up on eBay a siren action figure from Final Fantasy VIII.
Ooh, really?
It's really, really kick-ass. Yeah, I'll send you a picture of it.
Don't forget to draw Siren from Elvorit.
At first, I thought it was very like more poetic siren in the general sense, but because it's capitalized, that is probably more.
That's why I looked. I was gonna ask if all this data was in your script or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, my sweet siren. You get more entrancing every time.
Yeah.
Oh, how the wine talks. I really like that one of the NPCs there is like, oh, I wish I got picked to be one of the witches. Like to be a witch. Like I'm like, oh yeah, so it kind of shows that like who knows how the technology works, if it is like a VTuber thing or like a Hatsune Miku concert where there's like mocap or whatever, and
or
that's
Splatoon concert.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
KK Slider's opening for Deep Cut. I'm excited for that show.
KK Slider opened for fucking what are the names? Pearl and Marina?
Marie and Callie?
Pearl and Marina is off the hook, yeah.
That's it, yeah, off the hook, yeah. That's it. Anyway, so we're in Nautilus.
We're in Nautilus. The first table that we see in like the food court area, which is where we're at, I guess, has two of the most miserable looking ladies I've ever seen in my life. They just look bored as fuck.
I want to go to a food court sometime. When are we all available? Can we all go to like a mall food court?
There's a really fantastic chicken place in a food court not too far from where I live. So
when can we all go there? I want to do that.
We can go to Guitar Center and then go to Chicken Now.
We can also mope around the gift shop.
We like announce our plans on the podcast so that people can come find and hunt us down
on this day at this hour.
I love how as we progress towards the bridge entrance, we do see like a big horde of people just run for the gift shop.
Yes, there's a big old line.
Someone in the line kind of mentions that too. He's like, oh, like I don't know why I waited until the parade ended to go to the gift shop. I'm like, dude, that's me at every fucking concert after it ends. It's like, shit, dude, I really want that Mars Volta shirt.
Did I tell you about when I saw Rush at the Yum Center?
No.
I was like, oh, there's always lines for the bathroom and stuff like that. And like, I don't have to wait in line. So I'll just go.
I'll just piss myself.
So I'll just go while Neil Peart is doing his drum solo. Because I was like, I'm sure that he'll be doing the drum solo for like 10 solid minutes. So I'll just go while the drum solo is happening because everybody wants to see that. And I was right. There was nobody there. And when I got out of the bathroom, it was still going. And I was like, well, I'll go to Taco Bell because it's the Yum Center. And so I got 2 hard shell tacos and it cost me like $12.
Oh yeah.
Anyway.
Did you get back in time for Getty's bass solo, I hope?
Oh, absolutely.
Hell yeah.
Would not miss one.
When I first, I saw Rush once when I was like in high school or just out of high school or something, and we got there a little late, and we were like running in, and it was right when Rush started, and we're just in the parking lot trying to run to our seats. I think it was at like the Man Center maybe, and we're just running in, and we just finally hear a bunch of people cheer, and then we just hear at one point when we were when all that was happening, I was like, boy, I really don't feel like I'm living in the limelight right now, the universal dream. Anyway.
That was worth it.
So we're in Nautilus.
Yeah. There was one more piece of NPC I was getting ready to say customer dialogue. But there's one more piece of NPC dialogue.
It's my least favorite kind of dialogue, dude.
Is it the guy who's going crazy for Ifrit?
No.
So they mentioned Ifrit, so I guess that confirms the name.
Okay. No, one of them says that parade, or she goes, that parade got my waterworks going. And she says it in such a way that I was like, what?
Like, now which water are you working here?
Yeah.
The Wooderworks.
Wooderworks.
I remember that one.
I mean, whomst amongst us has not seen an animated character and it got their waterworks going?
A lot of people keep mentioning like a clock tower or the Fiend Lord's Keep, which I'm sure won't be important at all, I'm sure.
It's true. That's true. I do like that. I like that, like, in passing, we hear about the Fiend Lord's Keep several times, but it's never brought up to us.
Yeah, I'm like, that place sounds cool as hell. It sounds like the hotel that we stay at in Final Fantasy VII. It's probably really nice there. Mr. Hangman or whatever his name was.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone is lined up for the merch booth, which is it's just like a little like kind of circus cart, but has carbuncle plushies and other oddities. But notably, there are a retro looking chocobo like balloon on the top.
It's so good. I love it so much.
And the bomb you could point it out, Carl.
Yeah, there's just like a what are those?
Plastic style bomb.
Yeah, what are those type of balloons called?
Like Mylar.
Yeah.
Kind of balloons.
Just like a regular like kind of Mylar balloon.
Something that gets stuck in a power line.
Yeah, or you look up in like a department store or a thrift store or something, and you just see one stuck to the vent, it's sucked in there. But yeah, it's got the classic bomb design that we all know and love. And then there was a couple other ones that are like egg-shaped balloons, which I guess is kind of just the opposite shape of an upside down balloon, more or less.
Yeah.
Also look like they're Mylar and just have some cool designs on it. It's nothing like, I was like, ooh, are we going to see a Moogle for the first time in this game or something? But no.
Do we see a Moogle in this game?
No, I haven't seen
We
one.
haven't yet.
Okay.
We're on Moogle Watch, officially.
But yeah, there's like a dad who's like, see anything you like? Boy's like, I want a carbuncle and a chocobo and 2 sheeps. And like one of the attendants like, one per customer, please.
I like how someone just says, hey, no cutting if you like go to the front of it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Sazh just takes out his gun, so he's like, oh, I'll fucking cut if I want to. What are you gonna do about it?
How long does it take to buy a freaking toy? Says some dude. Or it's like, forget it. I don't need one bad enough to wait that long. It just like someone just gave up. Yeah.
I love it.
There's also a guy who mentioned he designed something. I don't know.
Yes. Yeah. One of the guys is like, oh yeah, look at those. Aren't those like stuffed animals cute or whatever? And one guy's like, yeah, I designed it.
This is the dev room of this game.
Yeah. Right.
You get to meet the creators.
This is when your friend claimed to invent jorts.
That's right.
It's like, oh yes, that was me.
So yeah, right. Basically, that little stand that we're talking about is at the end of like a T junction, and if you head the other direction and you progress on
towards basically like a kind of gilded looking Grand Central Station building.
It looks really nice. Like
we see these like Nautilus, I think they're called, or wait,
yeah,
which ones are the cars and which ones are the ones we're about to take?
I was just gonna call them bathyspheres, but
that's too.
Yeah, the sensory deprivation tank eggs that jettison you up or down.
But there's like little floaty shuttles, like kind of like miniature ships floating around too. I think they're basically Ubers.
Yeah, someone talks about that later. I forget, levicabs or something like that.
Levicabs, yeah,
like taking a levicab isn't cheap.
I don't want to call them Ubers because I like to believe that Cocoon exists outside of the gig economy.
I feel like if any place in the fucking world is gonna have the gig economy, it's probably Nautilus and it's probably Cocoon.
Do you think so? Because like the Fal'Cie take care of everything. I was gonna say, like, I feel like that wouldn't be allowed.
If they took l'Cie are literally like the embodiment of the gig economy. Like, you have to do your job or you turn into a fucking monster. And your only promotion is getting encased in crystal.
That also happens if you do really well at being an Uber driver.
We're crossing the bridge and we get like another small cutscene, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Where I think Vanille kind of asks about this whole fucking place.
Yeah, and Sazh explains that it was built by the Sanctum. He says, I bet they never expected l'Cie visitors. And Vanille's
this
like,
is almost too easy.
she asks like, why is it special to him, right? Like, is this place special? And he says that he promised Dodge that he would take him one day, right? And now that that's out of the window, he's like, well, maybe I'll be able to at least tell him about it. And she's like, oh, you'll get the chance, trying to make him feel better. And he's like, maybe. I do know where they're keeping him. So, I could go see him. And she has to go with him. And he's like, yeah, sure, more the merrier. And he asks her, he says, hey, what about you? Do you have someone special out there? And she goes, special? Nope. And he goes, really? Now that's kind of sad.
Yeah.
And they're like making fun of her.
She kind of does her little pout squat thing.
She play upset, yeah. And it was like, yeah. And he goes, I'm kidding. I didn't mean to upset you. So they kind of, they're both faking being happy with each other, right?
It's like that Paramore song.
And we get some narration from Vanille that says, I wanted to tell him everything, but I couldn't. Not until the time was right.
Yeah. I'm sure there'll be a really nice and perfect moment for her to finally come clean about all of this as well.
I'm sure. Yeah.
I like,
It's some quiet, peaceful moment.
Yeah, where, everything will be
I
mellow.
mean, we heard that someone proposed in a levy cab, so I'm sure there's plenty of opportunities to...
We gotta do the Ferris wheel part of the gold saucer.
As this scene was playing out, we got like a shot kind of from the distance, like looking down, and we saw 2 little Nautilus sheep that are just kind of hopping along.
Yeah,
that's right. They're on this bridge. We see those little naughty sheep.
Yeah, so the sheep from
sheep.
the soda can that we all know and love.
The Moco sheep or whatever. I'm not sure what they're actually called.
But yeah, they're real. They're real, and they're hopping along, and it's very cute. And kind of
shout out
looking.
to the Nautilus sheep Twitter account.
Yeah, they're cute. This is actually when I realized because I was localizing or ripping the Japanese text. Because Vanille's like, oh, they're so tiny. Are we allowed to pet them? I was like, look at those woolly little things. I want to squeeze them till they pop.
Yeah, I like the way she says that too. Squeeze them till they pop.
But I realized the term. In that phrase, she uses the phrase moko moko, which means fuzzy or fluffy in Japanese, which made me retroactively realize, like, oh, moko soda, like milk soda is what. So it's like fluffy. It's like, yeah. So
that's good. I like that.
It all comes together.
But we take one of these bathyspheres to the next area. You can also get in one and go back to the ticketing area if you want to. There is nothing.
Oh yeah, did we describe these things? They were like eggs that just kind of plunge into the water, like a little
they're
elevator.
Gigantic Tenga eggs that you hop into, and they're in like a mall fountain, and then it sucks you down deep, and you end up in like a port somewhere. And the first one, like, there's obviously we can look at the mini map, and it shows you the critical path.
Don't know if you're coming or going.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you a question. Should we take a quick break while we're being sucked down deep before we come back to the next area?
Yeah, let's take a Tenga egg break. This podcast is brought to you by Tenga Egg. I actually would take that sponsorship.
It certainly would be a statement.
It would be, it's more dignified than manscaping, which we
agree.
never
At least we can
support.
agree on that.
All right, see you at the park, I guess.
Bye.
Which way, little lady?
Hey, you know what I love? Love dim chocobos.
Oh yeah.
Love them big fuzzy sumbitches.
We waited so long.
Actually, they are exceptionally cute in this game, I will say.
They're extremely cute. I think at one point they just make like a generic bird sound, which I found pretty funny.
I love the generic like chocobo sound too. The kind of sound.
We also get a like I guess it's like the onomatopoeia for chocobos, where it's quay versus what was the other one? Work.
Yeah.
And in this one, it's quay, but there's a child who's running around and impersonating a chocobo, and he says quay. And I'm like, that's how you fucking pronounce that? Oh God, I've been saying quay.
I've been calling her quay.
I've been living a lie.
But yeah, we pop up at this kind of it's another like kind of hub. It's a little more open air though, but I like that it's kind of like a weird spirally flowery design.
Yeah, but
I'm assuming all different pods can kind of come in and out of here.
Yeah, but you can't walk down but like 2 of them.
Yeah, which is
now,
good because it would probably be useless to do that anyway.
Well, not if they put some items in there. Jeez.
When I saw this, I was like, this just looks like a didgeridoo logo. Like if anyone's familiar with those.
Very sunburst.
Like the guy with the cool hair.
Yeah, it's like a stone structure, a building in front of us. There's some balloons above another like merch table. But Vanille immediately recognizes the smell. It's like, woo! I thought I smelled something.
Yeah,
that's chocobo, isn't it?
It's all naturey or nostalgic, depending on how you are playing.
Yeah.
I love the chocobos and the sheep are just kind of like commingling.
Yeah,
it's very cute.
Chocobo Chick is going buck wild.
Yo, Chocobo Chick's going nuts, and I like that it's on Vanille's shoulder instead of in Saz's hair right now.
Yeah. And they kind of remark on that. They're just like, oh, like Saz is like, haha, someone's excited.
Yeah.
And Vanille's like, yeah, you can make some new friends.
And we learned that like Dodge was very, very Sazh is crazy about chocobos. He wanted to come here, so we go off into the chocobo ranch. A ranch, is that what you would call it? Pen?
What's this called? I think it's
The park?
I think it's a chocobo park or something.
Yeah.
like that.
Chocobo
Or corral.
park.
The corral, yeah,
Okay.
the corral.
The Golden Corral.
The sign I think says park, but in this square plaza before we even enter the corral or whatever, I love like the weird NPCs. There's like one attendant who just loves the smell.
Oh, you can't get enough of that delicious smell.
I mean, here's the thing. While I don't think I would be into the smell of giant bird poop, I do like the smell of gasoline. So, like, I don't know. I'm not one to judge.
I'm with you
know
there
what I mean?
on that one. I just find it like there's a lot
Why
of people.
is it poisonous if it smells so good?
Well, I know that there's a type of gas. I don't think it's gasoline like that we get at the pumps or something, but I know that one type of gas has artificial smell on it because
Interesting.
it's an odorless gas. But if you breathe too much of it, you
I
die,
see.
or it fills your house and becomes, an explosive. So
Well-
they add a smell to it so that you know. It's like it's the same premise as making a taste on the Nintendo Switch cartridge.
Well, I do like the smell of the gas station gas.
And I like the taste of the Nintendo Switch cartridges. It's like a warhead.
I can't wait till they add Nintendo Switch cartridges to the toppings at Wawa. Like a hoagie.
Yo, I'm gonna start a brewery. I'm gonna make the fucking most disgusting goddamn beer ever, but I'm gonna brand it as Nintendo Switch cartridge sour. And I will waste a lot of my money in doing so.
It sounds like it'll be a resounding success to me.
But yeah, attendants and chocobos everywhere. Yeah, like you mentioned, there's like a lot of the other exits and stuff are blocked off, usually by chocobos or attendants.
Yeah.
Because they mentioned some areas may be closed off for now.
I think one of them does presumably lead to the Fiend Lord's.
They mentioned the Fiend Lord's Keep again. Yeah.
Yeah, the keep, because when you go there, they're like, "Sorry, sir, like the Fiend Lord's Keep is closed right now."
Yeah.
It's like, oh, when are they gonna get to the Fiend Lord's Keep?
Yeah, but we get to the actual Chocobo Corral, and it's very cute. There's a bunch of Chocobos standing around.
Bunch of them beautiful, beautiful sheep hopping around.
I love the sheep just kind of lump along and this like kind of. They don't like walk like a normal sheep would. They kind of just like lurch forward by all at once, like little balls.
The sheep seem kind of like pandas in zoos now, where you see them and you're like, you would not survive out in the wild. You can only live like being taken care of by human beings now.
Yeah, I think these chocobos would stand a chance, I think, but these sheep surely would not.
These sheep surely would not.
If I'm not mistaken, we will be seeing sheep later in this game that are different. So I'm thinking these are domesticated sheep.
It's kind of like in Avatar: The Last Airbender, where every animal is a hybrid. And then in the one episode, they're like, "Oh yeah, the king has a bear," and they're like, "Oh, do you mean he has like a bear platypus?" And they're like, "No." And then they like it, and it's like, "No, it just says bear," and he just has a straight up regular bear, and it's like confused by it.
But the sheep, they do look strange. Like I was trying to like remember, they look like a small bantha.
Oh my, they do. I know what you mean.
Because they have like a weird like upper like kind of curled up lip like the banthas do.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I had to look up what a bantha is.
It's one of the few Star Wars creatures that I know.
I'm all tauntaun. I'm a tauntaun man myself.
Tauntaun.
Tauntaun berry.
Vanille loves the naturey smell.
Yeah, she loves the naturey smell.
She says, the smell reminded me of home, the wilderness of Pulse.
Yeah, and she says that in narration, I'm pretty sure. Because I think someone was watching there, and someone was just like, "Holy shit! Wait, does Sazh know that she's from Pulse?" And I was like, "Oh no.
You can't hear italics."
And then we get. You remember how like when we were in the Vile Peaks and we had to do the quote unquote mini game where we were like driving the sweeper or whatever.
Yeah,
we get another what I would call quote unquote mini game where it's
like
a
nice little hide and seek.
You used to play hide and seek. There is no.
The chocobo flies off like a bumblebee.
It has as much charm as Mog House in Final Fantasy VII, and also just as much riveting gameplay as Mog House.
I would even go so far as to say like Mog House at least has like multiple endings depending on how you do.
That's actually a good question. Is there a difference?
Nope.
Okay, I'm glad you looked it up because I meant to.
I did.
So basically, the mini game that we're talking about is Choco Chick is really excited. He's with his own kind, and he goes and takes off, and it's extremely cute. You see him flying away, which is very funny.
This is the episode of Pokemon with the Pikachu meeting the other Pikachus, right?
Oh my god, no, because I didn't cry after it like I still do with that one. That episode's called Goodbye Pikachu, and I was like, this one happened after Bye Bye Butterfree. Don't you dare fucking do this to me again, Pokemon. My 12-year-old brain can't handle it, god damn it. But yeah, so we have to go on a hide and seek mission with Choco Chick, which is cute, but weird.
It's a time waster.
The tutorial's text is very cute, where it says, "Flight of the Chocobo. The Chocobo Chick has taken wing. Find where the fugitive fledgling is hiding. You could not have gone far yet."
So there's one.
I would be interested to see what the Japanese tutorial is, and if it's that like goofy and silly, like the fugitive fledgling. I'm like, why are you just saying he's a fugitive? He's just trying to play. As Vanille's talking about how much she loves the smell of here and how it reminds her of home, we do see Sazh like holding his nose, like he does not like the smell.
Yeah.
Like it's damp.
He's glad he does not work here, I think is what he said. Right?
But yeah, so we're basically like in this little pen area. There's not really anywhere to go. It's just kind of like not circular but roundish room. It's outside. You know, it's very nice.
It's like another Chow garden here. You know?
Very Chow gardeny. But what's funny about it is like we're doing a mini game where we play hide and seek with a chocobo where like it flies off and we have to go find it. But the camera angle shows us where it went every time it flies off. Like the camera like swivels around and says it's over there at this one site that you can see.
Also, Vanille is always facing the direction where it is too.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
She's always kind of like looking up, like she's trying to look over something. Even like I like the later one. She's surrounded by like sheep, like she's been completely like penned off and she can't get around, and like she's constantly trying to get them to move. Like, hello, coming through. Just not budging, are you? Like, just
this is a fucking Dora the Explorer flash game. Like level.
Can you
like,
point to the tiny chocobo?
Do you see the tiny chocobo? You do?
There he is. Yeah,
it's right there. It's there. It's right there.
Yeah, it's right there.
The entire time we see Hope, a little cartoon Hope, getting closer and closer to Snow with the knife, and we're like, Hope, no slashing! Hope, no stabbing!
I like that things move around every time we find it. The chocobo.
Yeah, like things kind of change up. You said that there was a child running around who just has like a full-grown person's voice.
Yes, let me show you.
Because I was thinking like with all of this, like every time you find the chocobo, there's like a little small little cutscene of it flying somewhere else, and you know you have to follow it or whatever. But you can walk around, and every single NPC or sheep in the area is kind of moving and in a different spot. So I'm like, am I missing something? Am I supposed to go somewhere that was previously blocked off and now it's missable? If I like anything, and it's like, no, it's just you just find the chocobo each time. Like it's cute, but
Things are yellower than a banana.
Is that little kid talking?
Yeah, I move the camera around. You can see his mouth moving. It's only him.
Things are yellower than a banana.
oh my god.
He's got like Sid's voice from 10.
Things are yellower than a banana.
These things are yellower than a banana. Oh, holy shit.
Yeah, that's Choco Billy from Final Fantasy VII. He got real gruff after the events of Final Fantasy
apparently.
VII.
After you find the chocobo the first time near, like, basically this is the horde of sheep near the exit, quote unquote, this child is just, like, doing a cool little march thing, like, kind of near the concession stand, and as I walked by, I'm like, that thing's yellower than a banana every time you walk by him. And I was like, is that you? You're the only adult around here. Then I'd zoom in and get the camera, like, yeah, his mouth is the one moving.
Oh,
for some
my
reason,
God.
he has a man's voice.
He's a boy with a gruff man's voice. That's incredible.
He's going to be the next Tom Waits.
Tom waits for no man. So after we find
chocobos or whatever.
after we find the baby chocobo 4 times,
I think like the second time it's it's part of like the souvenir booth, and everyone's like, did we? You hear the attendants like, did we always have that for sale or whatever?
Yeah.
And then it just flew away. And then later it's like, oh, I guess it flew the coop or whatever. Very cute. And there's that one kid who's like squatting right underneath the chocobo about to get pooped on.
He looks like he's about to get pooped on.
And then I think the final one is when he's just floating around with like a group of like 4 or 5 chocobos near the edge, and it's very cute. I think this is actually the one that's in the data log. If you look up chocobos,
Okay.
you see that clip with the little baby one just kind of floating in the middle.
That's cute.
Yeah, there's a kid who's running around who says some interesting dialogue here. He's I think it might be the one who's actually right underneath the chocobo. He says, "Do you think that chocobo gets embarrassed when he poops out eggs in front of the team? Haha, sorry if this offends anyone, but I thought it was funny thing, haha. And I would like to know if any of you have any pics of chocobo pooping an egg while he looks nervous or embarrassed. I just want to see it for a few laughs, haha. Another thing I'm wondering is, what do you think the eggs smell like? Haha, I'm just curious for laughs, haha. I would like to smell them." But yeah, weird minigame. It's cute. I enjoy, the kind of flavor it gives, I guess, but I don't hate it, but I'm also like, oh, that seems like it's really kind of pointless, and it's kind of like Whiplash after the last chapter as well, because just so much in one chapter, and then this seems like a bulk of it is just this weird back and forth.
Girl, you broke us.
That is a copy pasta about Yoshi laying eggs in front of Mario that is constantly spammed on TTS, on a streamer that I watch named Orator. His chat is all just, anytime he plays Mario Maker, it's just TTS hell. And the first time I watched it, I was like, I can't watch this. But now it's like weirdly comforting to me.
I forgot to try this, but there's before we find the chocobo the last time, the way we came in is like undisrupted. You can actually backtrack. I didn't actually check to see if like the inverse of happens at Sunleth, where like, oh, we can't leave without chocobo chick or whatever happens. I don't know if y'all tried that or not.
I don't think so. I did do something later where I backtracked at a point where the story wouldn't make sense for you to be able to backtrack.
Me too.
I think I understand why they did that. I think it's like a thing so you can grind up levels if you need to.
Yeah.
But yeah, very weird minigame.
So yeah, once we get the 4th one, Sazh is startled by an item chest that comes from the sky.
From fucking nowhere.
It's Portal, and one of the Wheatley just lowered down.
Yeah.
Turns you into a potato or whatever.
And he's audibly just like stunned. I'm like, whoa! And we get a star pendant, right? No matter what.
We do.
And I was like, this might be useful. I am going to not put it on.
Yep.
Even though very soon it will be useful.
Yep.
But yeah, those sheep have moved out of the way as well, so we can kind of continue forward.
To catch up with the chocobo once more. I think it's basically left the Central Park area.
Yeah.
These sheep are cute.
So it's kind of like hanging out with this one chocobo. Vanille goes up to it and kind of like pets this chocobo, right? And she says, "Part of the gang already." And Sazh is like, "Yep, it's good to be among friends." And they have like
I also love being among my friend Vanille, who would never do anything to harm me or make my life worse.
I like their little back and forth. I think it's very cute. She says, "The fun times are doubled and your worries feel far away." And Sazh is like, "And nothing's as scary when you have something to show it with."
I thought it was really cute in the Japanese version, like when she says, "The fun times are doubled and your worries feel far away." It might be a saying in Japanese.
Tanoshii koto wa bai ni natte.
But it says double the fun, sadness is halved. So like,
oh, it does. Hanbu.
Twice the fun you have, you'll be half as sad. That's how the math works.
Triple that and you got me. But Chocobo Chick eventually, goes back into Saz's hair where he's most comfortable. And Vanille's like, you're still the favorite.
You're still number one, of course.
Of course.
I love that she's kind of like nuzzling the chocobo, just kind of finding comfort in it.
Yeah.
It's a pillow.
Oh, yeah, it looks like...
I would love that.
It looks like she's about to stone cold stunner it. And I think then right after that is where we get the weird chocobo, just generic bird noise that I feel like I've heard in other media.
Oh, yeah. It's the chocobo sound, the wah, 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 wah one.
But yeah, so... After that,
sounds like it's like in the background of Jumanji or something. Like,
and Sazh is like, "Thanks, Vanille."
Yeah,
because it's been a good day, all things considered.
Yeah, he's like, "This has been a really nice day with my close friend Vanille."
Yeah, and he starts dropping some heavy shit on her too. He's like,
"Now, when I see Dodge, I can tell him about the chocobos. He's being held by the military."
Psychom, you mean?
Yeah, since he's a cocoon lassie. They're running tests. They're trying to figure out his focus. I'm turning myself in.
Huh?
I know they execute Lascive, but hey, they're not total monsters. They'll listen to a final request. They'll have to.
Before the end, I want to talk to Dodge one last time and tell him about the chocobos and everything I've seen. And I'm like, oh, Sazh!
It's extremely sad.
My boy!
Yeah.
He's done running. I think, again, this is probably partly because of... He's probably still thinking about Dodge's focus about dealing with...
I think that's where it mostly comes from. I think
he's like, I'll give my life if it means saving his kind of thing.
Yeah, like he knows that it's like the exact opposite of like there's no way that he can really figure out to make it where they're both still alive. Because everything he's seeing is like, well, Dodge is in trouble, and the only thing that he can do to not be in trouble involves me dying. And I don't want to sell out my friends. I don't want to sell everyone else out, but I need to do what I can, which is just, I'm going to turn myself in.
Putting his chips on the table.
And Vanille tries to stop him, and he's like, hey, don't worry about it. You don't have to be a part of it. He says, you'll have plenty of time to split before I surrender. And she's like, oh, that's not what I mean. And he's like, look, I'm sorry. I'm just tired of all this running.
Mm-hmm.
She gets a little desperate and trying to like, increasingly more desperate at each thing she says, trying to like reel him in.
And wouldn't you be, right? Because like,
it's like no, wait,
Sazh is the only person taking care of her. Like, it's the only person she knows in the entire world. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's also even beyond that. It's not just like, oh, you're taking care of me. I think she's genuinely like grown to like have a lot of like love for Sazh. Like,
that too, yeah, absolutely.
And probably also a similar like indebtedness to him because of the whole Dodge thing. Is like,
and also just survivor's guilt and being like, I am the reason that you are the way that you are.
I owe this guy.
Well,
I'm the reason that your son is the way that you are.
And speaking of which, right? Like, she's trying anything that she can to dissuade him from this, and she goes, well, you can't. You can't do it until you get revenge. I know who it is. I know who's responsible for the accident at Uriday. And like Sazh is like, whoa, you have to tell me that.
I love this step because first she's like, you can't give up without getting revenge, and then with a beat like not saying like, okay, he's not taking the bait. Like, I'm guessing I'm gonna amp this up. Like, I know who it is. Like,
she keeps amping it up over and over.
And then that gets his attention. Like, oh shit, like you gotta tell me. And then like of course she starts to waffle a bit. Is that the word?
Yeah, he grabs her and like he grabs her by the arms, and she starts to tell him, or she starts to tell him something. We don't know if she would say like it was me.
It's leaking out. Yeah,
she's saying like the Lassie that did this, like it was, and then they get interrupted.
Yeah, immediately like there's like sniper fire that hits the ground around them, right?
Yeah.
And they look around.
Oh yeah, that's right. We look around and we just barely see them duck behind bushes and stuff.
Yeah, it's a really cool shot.
Feels very like Metal Gear Solid because it's like
we can see like obviously we're in a nice like chocobo pasture, green grass and like blue sky. But if you look closely, you can see that like the syntheticness of the sky, which is really cool. Like the geodesic sky.
Yeah, it's like Altaria in Splatoon 3.
Hell yeah.
Story mode.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, you were streaming this and I was joking like, oh, I'm gonna turn myself in. I'm done running. And then like immediately 2 seconds later, fuck you guys.
Fuck you pigs, you'll never take me alive. Yeah. I mean, like, yeah, like that's a very.
I'm sure
funny
this is mostly like
it.
to protect her as well. Like,
it's to protect her, and also it's like they're just shooting to kill. They're not, and he's like, no. The only way this works, like the only reason I'm gonna do this is so that I can see Dodge one more time. Like I need to see Dodge. Like nothing's gonna stop me from that.
Right.
But they pop out of the corral and over a drawbridge.
Over a drawbridge to the Fiend Lord's Keep.
Yeah,
which gets
Sazh
drawn.
Does shoot some shots back at them to like make them duck and cover and everything. Which I'm like, oh yeah,
they're little lazy shots, but
he's not like really necessarily. He's just kind of like
warning shots,
supporting fire.
Warning shots are being like, hey, like fuck off. But I think it's funny too because he was like, wow, security's really low, and it's like, yeah, they just let you in with your fucking guns. Like I can understand Vanille getting through with her staff or whatever, just being like, oh, it's a walking stick. You wouldn't part an old man from his walking stick.
I'm here to fish.
Yeah, but then it shows Vanille running across this bridge to on her way to the Fiend Lord's
Her
keep.
run cycle looks extra goofy on the side.
Her run is so fucking goofy in this scene.
You don't really notice it if you're like right behind her, but if you're like watching her like run by sideways like in this cutscene,
it's extremely goofy.
But the bridge goes up and we see that we are now pretty much just the place is swarming with I'm guessing the Guardian Corps, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
because they're in the red and blue.
And like I should point out that like the area that we're in now, it's like we see the Fiend Lords keep coming up.
Yeah,
but we're kind of in like
from the clock.
Yeah, we're in like a nighttime like pavilion, and there's like a Ferris wheel nearby. There's just a volcano nearby, which is incredible.
Very cool.
I wrote down in my notes Ferris wheel fallacy, volcano fallacy.
Is that a Ferris wheel or like a windmill?
Oh, maybe.
Or both.
I don't know. There's also a roller coaster that like is kind of above the area that every now and again you can see one of the actual like cars on, like zoom by.
Oh yeah, they're on discs.
Mm-hmm.
They're on like on those weird little like single wheel carts or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, this place is full of the core.
Yeah, full of the core and some new enemies.
I specifically want to talk about
new Sponzigs or Zwergs.
Yeah, there's new Zwergs. I specifically wanted to talk about the second. I think it's the second battle that we get into. That has are they still called Orions in this? Yeah,
I
think
so.
Yeah,
it's an Orion and like 5. Are they Psycom or Guardian Core?
They're still core.
They're core. Okay. There's like 5 of them and like 1 Orion.
We killed Psycom. Remember, Grosh is dead.
It was the first 1-star battle I've had this game thus far, and I was like, well, I quit. This is it. I'm kicking myself off the podcast. Y'all have to get another third member now. I don't deserve to be part of it.
If you're kicking yourself off, I think in the first fight that we get into, where there's like 6, I think 2 groups of 3 of the core gunners. I'm pretty sure I got a game over. I was like, oh shit.
Oh, the one I got a 1-star on. I also got game overed on first.
Okay. These fights are difficult. Obviously, the enemies are a lot stronger. We might be back to kind of being a little under-leveled. We have a lot of, Christogen points and everything, but I still have not maxed out these levels at all for these 2.
Speaking of the Crystarium, did you see what synergist move we can get for Sazh?
I don't know. What is it?
It's the fucking table turner move in every single Final Fantasy. Haste, baby!
Oh my god, dude, that would have helped me so
Yes!
much. I was like, you know what I need to do? Since Sazh is leading the team, I need to go all in on Commando, baby.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, I went in all on Synergist first, and I was like, haste, let's go!
Oh my god, yeah. No, I do have a something that Vanille can learn, which is extremely good and ended up being extremely necessary for me.
What was that?
That is something called Imperil.
Oh, yes, I got Imperil too, yes.
Yeah. So
also
haste
good.
would have really made this section a lot easier for me.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Imperil all element defense down?
It's like a debuff of everything. So like if something is resistant to lightning, it'll put them to just normal resistance. Or if they're normal, it'll make it super effective. Or not super effective, but it greatly debuffs the enemy to where you can seriously do some damage. I don't think it takes care of immunities, but who knows?
Yeah, that's definitely necessary. It's a very, very good skill to learn. Also, I did equip Vanille with one of the wands we were talking about in a previous episode that just helps her debuffs stick. And that was super handy. So I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll just keep that on her for the rest of the game. Because, like, having consistent and quick debuffs is such a fucking tool in the arsenal for this game.
Yeah, so it looks like Imperil actually does work on any kind of elemental weakness. It brings it down 1 class. So if it usually absorbs something, it will become immune to it. So it doesn't heal it, but and then immune will become resistant. Resistant will be halved. Halved will be normal, and normal will be weakness. I don't know if you can stack that, but yeah, you can really change the tides of a battle in this game with this. So
wow, I had no idea. That's really cool.
Wish I knew that.
That is very useful.
The new Zwergs are called Zwerg Metrodroid.
Metroids, all right.
They're basically the round and blue version of
the Tron
Zwergs.
versions.
They have cool
Tron Among Us.
They're bluer. Yeah.
So it's funny, when I saw these guys, I didn't think of the Among Us. I didn't even realize that it was that class of enemy, which makes complete sense.
The Among Us actually has like a little visor, much like the Among Us. The Scandroids have the Among Us visor.
Yeah, we're just calling them the fucking Among Us.
I like these. I saw these ones and I was like, oh, these must be like the Gremlins. Like we finally learned where the Gremlins went. Where did the Gremlins
These
go?
are little jelly beans. They're less cuboid.
They're so cute, dude. I love them. I would love a plush of this. I like that they got a little hula hoop on them.
Yeah.
But yeah, some rough fights here for sure.
Yeah, Ryan.
There's one where it's literally just one of the Zwerg Metro.
What
droids.
a weird battle. Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is too good to be true, because I think it's also blocking like a treasure or something. I'm like, something big's gonna fucking come out of nowhere. And
That's
stuff.
what
And I was
I
like,
thought,
nope,
too.
I just killed this cute little critter and then helped myself to the thing it was protecting.
There's a staff for Vanille here, the healer's staff. And it is surrounded by like 6 of the Metro droids, which I was like, these guys go down easy. It'll be fine. And I game overed on them the first time.
Yeah, that one's pretty tough because they can really snowball you in this.
They can.
And sometimes with Saz's like sick blitz, like sometimes you still don't really do enough damage to them.
What I ended up doing to take them out or whatever is I input the command for blitz and just let that go. So I only used like 2 bars, and then immediately we just hit repeat over and over and over and over, and it was able to take them out real fast, and that's how I ended up winning that battle.
I like the way that they are in the overworld because they're kind of just like running around the treasure like very cutely.
Praise the treasure. But yeah, once we work our way towards the keep, right?
Yeah, we get right out in front of it.
We got a nice save point. Convenient. Suspicious.
Indeed.
So I'm just going to keep pointing out every single boss arena that we approach.
Yeah, every time we have a large opening and like a save point right before it.
Look at all this room.
But yeah, so as soon as that happens, we are visited by our next boss, which is like a tank.
It's an armature.
Yeah.
It's the Midlight Reaper.
The Midlight Reaper.
You
You know what it looks like? It looks like the fucking XATM from Final Fantasy VIII. That's right. Yes.
Yeah.
It has a weird like aesthetic where it reminds me of like something from the like new Doom games.
It looks like it's wearing a Dead Space.
I was gonna say that. Yes.
Yeah.
But it looks like it has like the Cyber Demon glowy orange bits on it. It's the same class as the Sky Tank, which is interesting, which is the armature class.
Yeah, those are the only 2 we have in that class right now. So I thought that was interesting that both of them appear one after the other.
That's interesting too, because the Sky Tank looks like it's just full, like straight up only mechanical, right? This looks like it's much more of one of the,
Guardian Core probably has much more higher tech, and this thing looks like inspired almost by like an elephant or something because of its strange kind of form.
A shoe puff. This is a shoe puff that they put some armor on. They glued armor to it.
Shoo kaboom.
Yeah. Jekt couldn't damage this one. You can't do it, Jekt.
Could not. It has a big wang cannon.
Yeah, it
does have a
wang
cannon,
doesn't it? Damn, how did I not notice that? Oh, I realized
that makes him extra Geiger-esque is the
I realized why I didn't notice that, and that's because every fight in this game is fucking terrifying and you don't have time to look at anything other than like trying to figure out what paradigm to use.
But
you just gotta hit R1 or whatever and look at it in the scan menu. Time slows down.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I guess I keep forgetting that's a pause as well, so I should do that to think more.
Notably, this motherfucker can poison you.
He immediately does.
He does so immediately.
He can immediately poison everyone in your party. He has a move called Nerve Gas.
Yep.
So it's not a guaranteed hit like the first time it hit me. It only got Sazh. But there was a point where I looked down and I was like, oh shit, Sazh and Vanille are both poisoned, and I didn't realize it.
It hit both of my characters, and I just never cured it or worried about it. I was like, fuck it, it's fine.
Oh, I would just go into medic, and Vanille had Asuna, so she would usually just use that and take care of it.
I spent a lot of time in Tide Turner and War and Peace through this one, just constantly like buffing myself up to get like you know, attack and magic up. Yeah. Just especially because this thing has a cannon attack that I'm not sure what it's called, but it can like take down almost all, at least for me, it took out almost all my health in one attack.
Railgun.
So
yeah.
That thing you can kind of anticipate coming too.
It's slow, and it also has to do a thing called release arm restraints first before it uses railgun. So you get a little bit of time. And that kind of
is just the setup. Like that's basically just the thing to say like, hey, this is coming, right?
Right.
I don't know if I mentioned it, but the reason I don't know the name of it is because I was playing the section in Japanese today.
Unlikely story. I don't know the name of anything in this fucking game.
Thankfully, I was able to find the Phoenix Down in Japanese. I think it's the second item in my inventory. Thank God.
I didn't have too much problem with this guy because his stagger is, I don't know what the percentage is. Let me see here, but it staggers real fast. Like
yeah, it's 160. Yeah,
Okay.
so it's easy to get into stagger. I had to, just the way that my configuration was with the Crystarium and I think at one point I dumped most of my materials into like the healer's staff or something for Vanille to try to get it up, and I got it to like level 2 or 3, and I was just like, oh no, I fucked up. So I think like going from last chapter where we had a lot more ATB bars or a lot more party members and a lot more levels, it seemed a lot easier. And then this is just like, I feel almost under leveled, but not to the point where it's impossible. So I got a couple of game overs, but it was basically just, stay on top of healing and keep trying to stagger it. And then eventually I got through it.
right.
Yeah, I think I switched to dual casting anytime I could.
Yeah.
Especially because it is weak to fire and ice.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if you know that from the get-go or you can scan it.
I think just anytime you use one of those attacks, that's how you unlock it on most fights.
Unlock the knowledge.
Yeah.
I don't know. We talked about this a little bit before. On this battle, I used not Libra Scope, but the Libra technique. And I used it multiple times, and it never gave me like the text below it or anything like that.
Yeah, so with that, I think it kind of just gives you an overview of some of the stuff. But it's still, Zwanzig talked about it a little bit, where there's certain like data, like I forget the specifics of it, but there's certain like parameters in the game to help you unlock knowledge about an enemy. So like I've kind of stopped.
I thought it was
Libra.
You just had to do it multiple times or something, but I guess not.
No, it's basically like, so one of the first things it'll say is like delivers devastating physical attacks, and it's like, oh, how did our team learn that? It's like, oh, because they got fucking hit, and this is them writing it. They're like, oh yeah, this thing fucking sucks, and it's like,
time out, taking a note.
Oh, I used lightning on it, and it was immune to that. Like it's, I could see that there, so it kind of just like trial
and error.
Yeah, trial and error and stuff. And then I think at a certain point, when you do enough, it'll unlock everything. But
maybe
I don't know how it works, because I mean I just spam attack, but if you have them on casting, will they kind of just go down the line of whatever they have until something like or do you have to kind of probe around for weaknesses yourself?
I think when they realize that something doesn't work, they switch to the next one.
Okay, cool.
I could read what Zwanzig has. I just searched our Discord for Libra, and of course Sweet Matter came up talking about how it's Libra season. Shout out to Sweet Matter. Shout outs to Libra season.
It is Libra season. We're using that technique constantly.
Let me see. Okay, so enemy intel mechanics are surprisingly involved, but basically there's a mostly set order in which info is revealed, and there are different ways to get info, quote-unquote, points, including just fighting and defeating that type of enemy. Libra doesn't actually give enough points to reveal everything usually, though Libra scopes always do, in addition to affecting all enemies in the battle. So if you used a Libra scope, you'd be golden, but
okay, got you.
Everything else is kind of, there's a hidden point value there.
Okay.
I do wonder if there's something like a certain role or whatever where like you can, if you level up enough, like your Libra will just be more effective or something like that.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah, like a roll bonus or something. But it's funny because we might have also read that verbatim on the podcast before, but this game is so fucking dense with weird mechanics and stuff that it's so easy to forget. It's a good game. I like it.
I love it though.
Yeah, no, I'm all. That's my favorite kind of thing. I'm like, yeah, this is confusing as hell, and talking about it makes me sound like an insane person. It's like the Pepe Sylvia meme. This is
that's why, like, I do think,
dude.
We've talked about it that like this game does get a bum rap sometimes, and it's like, no, it's real dense, but you need to have like the wherewithal to be able to probe into it, because
there's a cost for admission, but it's well, like the ride is well worth it.
You might say,
in my opinion,
you might say its deepest content is held in some kind of cocoon that you have to penetrate into. So whatever, we beat that boss. What was your score and time?
I think mine was bad. I'm pretty sure I had to use a lot of Phoenix Downs on my successful one.
I think this was the one I got a 1-star on, because I've got to a point where like, cool, it's not going to kill me, but it was just taking a long time to whittle it down.
I see.
I just got to the part of my VOD where I finished finishing this fight, Captain. I'm going to send you guys a screenshot of my reaction to what my score was. Because it was that good.
I have 3 guesses.
What do you guys think my how many stars do you guys think I got?
2.
You guys think I got 2? What about after seeing this picture of me, seeing my score?
1.
One.
Yeah, probably 1.
I had 0 stars.
Oh my gosh.
I got a score of 5,545. The target time for me, maybe I should have unlocked haste and then this would have been doable.
Yeah.
Target time was 4 minutes and 58 seconds. My battle duration was 7 minutes and 13 seconds.
Oh boy.
Mine has been around 5 minutes, I think, if I recall. But I think I got 1 star.
My target time was 3 minutes and 55, and I beat it in 2:25.
Damn, dude. Yeah, I struggled with this. We do get an item drop called the Mother Load.
We do. I saw it and I was like, the Mother Load. That's a great Mastodon song.
Hell yeah.
It's a very good Mastodon song.
What were your drops, Carl, since you got no stars?
It was the Mother Load. That's it. That's all I got.
Oh, that's it? Okay.
Oh, yeah, interesting.
This thing also apparently can drop gyroscopes and piezoelectronic elements.
Yeah.
So the Mother Load, that's where you can. It's a shop, a retail network that sells things like Millerite or some other things of that.
Miller High Life.
Uraninite.
Celebrating 120 years of mineralogical excellence,
Damn.
made possible by the faithful patronage of our distinguished customers. When it comes to stones and metallurgy, Motherlode knows best.
Mother Load knows best is really, really good.
It should have said Motherlodes are tough. So they like crystals.
Yeah. But yeah, Sazh and Vanille are pretty winded here after that fight.
Ooh-wee.
They're winded and a
Chocobo chick jumps out.
Chocobo chick didn't help at all.
Yeah, not pulling its weight.
No, he seems excited about something though, and he's kind of egging on Sazh. He's like floating towards the direction of the door that we were making our way up to, and then we see a familiar face.
Out from the Fiend Lord's keep comes the fiendish lord of all time.
Yeah, it's Dodge.
The wretched Dodge.
Dodge. Yeah.
I was not like looking at my screen when this happened, and then I just heard he says like "Daddy," like and I just like looked over and I was fucking shocked. I did not expect this.
Incredible
Daddy,
twist.
I found you.
Daddy,
I was like,
yeah, I found you.
Daddy, I found you.
Huh?
Daddy, got you.
Dodge, why are you here?
This kind of doubtness. We're like, is this actually happening? Oh no, I hope it's not actually happening because
Yeah,
this feels like this is not, there's no good reason why he would be here.
This is not a good thing. like
we're like Sazh wants to see him, yes, but like the fact that it's happening in this way, like,
under a certain context, he wants to see him.
Also, Saz's face is like not one of like I'm so excited to see you. He's like bewildered and terrified.
Yeah. He's like, Dodge, why are you here? Like, just has no idea. And it's very cute too, because Dodge runs up and hugs him really big and says, Daddy, I got you.
Without a care in the world, yeah.
Yeah, it's just
and Chocobo chick plops, like belly flops into his afro. It's so good.
And he says,
but yeah, it's like, what? But yeah, but how did like
why are you here? And he says, because you promised. And he says, but how did you get here? Like something's not adding up, and Sazh is terrified.
Yeah.
God, Dodge is so fucking cute, dude.
I know.
What a good kid. I love his little overalls.
And
Sazh goes to like embrace him, and he's like about to grab his head.
It's like the second before, and you can see his face starting to soften.
He's like just about to accept.
He has a moment of like excitement and like happiness on his face, and then a bunch of weird energy starts kind of spilling out.
You can see
Dodge.
the moment where his heart just breaks.
Oh yeah, no.
And I was like, and in my brain, here's my thought process as I'm doing this, and I'm like, okay. It doesn't make sense that Dodge would be here. It's a bad thing if he is here. And then I see all this weird energy. I'm like, I knew it. It's a hologram. It's the Psycom fucking with Dodge. And then I see what actually happened, and there's just a giant crystal in front of him that Dodge is inside of, and I'm just like, oh my fucking God, no. I cannot believe this.
So Dodge turns to crystal.
We were used.
And you see the horror on Saz's face, like as it's happening, as he's turning to crystal. He's like,
no, like he's
Dodge,
really
come
upset.
back, not you.
The performance is really good.
It's incredible.
Heartbreaking, but good, because it's like, no, not you, Dodge, come back.
Dude, it's heartbreaking. It's so rough.
It's really upsetting, yeah.
Thankfully, this ended, quote unquote, for Dodge this way. At least,
I guess
all the scenarios, like, oh, cool, he completed his focus, but of course that means.
And this is interesting too because Sazh doesn't know what we all know, which is the crystal stasis is something that is reversible. We have evidence of that being the case, and that's what Lightning and Snow now have hope for Sarah. So.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't know that, and it's extremely tragic because he's just like, oh no, everything.
He thinks this is the end of that was his last moment.
Game over, man, game over. And then we see Jill.
Fucking Jill Nabat. Oh, here she
and
comes.
Before we see that, we do see like
Shalua.
The clock with like a big pendulum that's on top of this like tower. I'm assuming this is the clock tower that everyone was talking about.
Yeah. One of them.
Yeah, but Jill kind of starts walking her way up onto this scene, just flanked completely by soldiers. She also kind of has like a little smirk and like a little laugh before she walks, which I'm like, fucking asshole.
Just she's so awful.
It's like, I thought you were cool for 1 second.
The capture of undesirables. It seems that was your son's focus. Dodge fulfilled it admirably and served Cocoon in the process. You should be proud of him. Mr. Catsroy?
And she says, Dodge was a great help. He could sense power of pulse origin, and that let us monitor you. Words cannot express our gratitude. The data he provided on the enemy lessee was invaluable. And speaking of gratitude, we enhanced the surveillance footage from the energy plant.
Yeah.
And she like throws like a hologram projector.
She throws her business card down.
It's a very Star Warsy little like hologram thing.
Yeah.
Also, we're getting a really like clear picture of her this time because we usually just kind of saw glimpses of her in flashbacks. So this is our first time actually meeting her. In current day, and she is very booby with a little tie, like she's designed by.
She walks out onto the scene very boobily, breastily breathing.
Yeah.
Very men's,
some AI bro
novel,
fed so many words to the machine to get this beautiful picture.
Yeah, she's got like a cleavage window that's like, it's not just
with
like,
a little
it's
miniature tie.
And when I say,
so
like,
she's still formal,
miniature tie, but when I say window, it's not just like open to the world. It's almost like a rain slicker or something. Like it's like just a clear, like
her collar. Yeah, it's a lot, but
slightly tinted boob window.
Government officials in this world are dressed very interestingly.
I figure when you're the head of your department, you can dress however you want.
Fair. Yeah, I think we should also mention how fucking cute Dodge looks in the crystal because he's all smiles, just very content. I know, it's so sad. But yeah, we get some cool security footage.
Yeah, she says, those are the pulse lessee behind what happened. The picture's a little grainy, but I'm sure you recognize that one. You've spent so much time together.
Yep, and we see Vanille and Fang, at the Uriday Gorge, and we kind of get I think we've saw some of this cutscene before.
Not this exact one, but what they talk about is things we've heard
This is
already.
basically what happens right before
what we saw.
Dodge gets branded.
Yeah.
So we actually haven't seen this one yet, but the subtitle files do have a little extra dialogue that we don't hear because Nabat is just talking over it.
Yeah.
But it's basically Fang and Vanille like looking at it's like an observation deck, looking at what was the name of the Kujata.
Yeah.
It's weird. Like it looks like a big volcanic, like it looks like a viewing platform on like a volcano or something.
Yeah.
They're still talking to each other, like trying to figure out like what their focus is because they came here looking for it. And Fang says like, focus still hazy, anything coming back? I thought if we get close enough to the cocoon fallacy, it might trigger something. And Vanille's like, it's hopeless, I can't remember anything. Fang, let's go. What's our focus even matter? And like, and Fang's like, what's it matter? You want to be a monster?
Fang does not like that.
Yeah, no.
Again, like because
Fang's in the clear.
Like 5 minutes later when we see her in the elevator, like, what? We should just give up.
Yeah. But Fang's like, I'm not going to let you just turn into a Seath.
Yeah.
Keep your chin up. We know the part that matters. Right? We are enemies of Cocoon. Know what I say? Play the part and raise some hell. Might jumpstart our memories.
What?
The Fal'Cie. Let's smash it.
And she readies her weapon, like they're going to do it. They display.
They're just gonna jump through that window with this thing that's like 100 yards away.
Yeah.
But they display like violent intent, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then we just hear Dodge say, like,
"Who are you?" or "What are you doing?"
Yeah, who are you? And
they look behind him, and Dodge is standing there.
Yeah, and that gets something out of the fal'Cie, and it kind of starts reacting to Dodge being there, and Fang and Vanille.
Volcanoes blasting off, or there's like lava busting. But yeah, like the Kujata, like,
there's lava busting.
But the Kujata, you see like a ripple of like energy, kind of, or a shockwave come from Kujata, and it knocks everyone over. And including Dodge, and as he's yelling "Daddy," we do see a close-up on his hand, and I'm assuming this is a cocoon brand that appears on his hand.
Yeah.
Now that I know that there are different types of FFXIII. We've only seen a pulse brand.
But yeah, we leave the footage, and we're back to the scene.
This is the moment where Vanille's seeing this. It's the moment of Homer sleeps nude in an oxygen tank, which he believes gives him sexual powers. Hey, that's only half true.
Yeah. Dude, I take back what I said earlier.
The scene would be a lot better if Vanille already told him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for the right moment to tell him.
Yeah.
Oh, beans.
I take back what I said earlier in the park grounds, where I was like, that's the saddest I've ever seen a 3D character look.
Yeah.
This is the saddest I've ever seen a 3D character look. Dude, Vanille is like, oh, she is not looking good.
Yeah, this is I'm kind of shocked that this isn't the trauma that turns her into a Sith, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I'm like, this is a huge shock. This was a huge shock to me. I'm just playing, you know?
It's like they do such a good job with like I don't know whether it's like motion capture or like the
I'm sure there's a lot of mixture where it's like both the performance of the mocap. I'm sure the mocap wasn't super detailed as it is nowadays, but
so
the animators in conjunction with like the vocal performance were just great.
It's so good because she like doesn't know like where to put her hands.
And the framing and the music, all this stuff is
everything
just adds up really well.
It's a very moving scene. And imagine, if you will, how distraught and sad Vanille looks. And then take a look at Jill Nabat, who is just the most fucking smug smirk on her face.
Asshole.
And like, I mean, if you're trying to own your enemies, like you just fucking like, this is like beyond, this is a fucking grand slam. Like this, you cannot get any better than what Jill just did, because holy fuck, this is devastating.
She's got a little like baton type of thing, like
the Dami Mommy baton.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Writing crop or whatever.
She is kind of like this game's like Scarlet.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely got some Scarlet vibes for sure.
It's just 7 again.
Yes, that young lady's terrorist assault at the Uriday Gorge is the reason Dodge was made a l'Cie.
She says, ironic, isn't it? The very girl you're protecting is the one who stole your son. And Vanille's like, no! And she screams no and runs. She runs off, right? She runs into the Fiend Lord's keep.
And
some of the core are like ready to like take her out, but Jill stops them.
Yeah, she stops them.
I was getting worried because I'm like, it really looked like they were just about to mow her down, but Jill stops them.
And she says to Sazh, she's like, shall we finish the job, or would you prefer to?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, it's so good. And Sazh runs after her, right?
He takes him only like a few seconds to think about it.
And he's got both of his guns out too.
Mm-hmm. It's like,
does he yell after her? He's like, Vanille.
Not yet, but yeah. We're still with Nabat in the core.
Yeah.
Who I love that the core is like helmet designs because it looks like they're all squinting.
Yeah. They ask like, oh, what do we do now? Colonel Nabat or whatever the fuck. And she says, follow them and observe, as she takes off her glasses. And
she does that a lot. She does like the whole, I forget the guy from NCIS or CSI.
I hate it so much. I was thinking about that. She takes off her glasses and then will say something like snide and then put them back
Horatio
on. And
Caine
it's like,
moments.
shut up.
Is that the one where he puts on the glasses and then it plays that?
Yeah.
But yeah, she says,
takes off her glasses and goes, how often do l'Cie kill their own? Yeah!
CSI Cocoon, let's go.
She says, let's see how this plays out. But yeah, basically she's saying like, hey, this is something that we can get some data on. Let's go. Let's check
it's all
this
about
out.
science or whatever. It's a little sick, a little sprinkle of Hojo. Like, oh, let's see what happens.
Yeah. then after that, we're in charge of Sazh, right? We play Sazh.
Battle team changed, and we only have Sazh. Yeah.
Is this, Carl, the part where you went backwards?
Yes.
Me too. I did too. I could. You know, it's funny.
I was like, I need to save. I need to go and save.
I went all the way back to that battle that I game overed on and 1-starred, and I couldn't get past it. And I was like, well,
yeah, I want to see. I don't know if I'll have time to do it, but I was like, I wonder how far back you can go as Sazh. Can you just go back all the way to Nautilus?
The drawbridge, probably.
Oh yeah, the drawbridge makes sense.
Oh, I should. Wait, no, I can't summon. Never mind. I had no idea how to get past that battle.
I was like, I want to go back and hang out with the chocobos one last time.
Yeah.
This kind of gives us the ability to have a really rough way of level grinding, I think, where you're only Sazh fighting those difficult battles on the way here.
If the only battle that you can win is one Zwerg Metro Droid, that battle is there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're in this, like, foyer, and it's like there's water on the ground, and these like little floating steps.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the clock.
Clock pastiche, yeah,
it's like the 13-hour clock as the mall fountain that we're stepping across.
But it looks like we're like about to enter a trials.
Yeah, it's got tons of cloisters of trials energy.
It's an emotional cloister.
I'm trapped in a cloister of emotion.
Emotional roller cloister.
The stylized numbers on the clock face are really, really nice.
Yeah, they kind of remind me a little bit of the Falsi font.
Yeah.
Which is very kind of ancient looking
and
kind of calligraphical. Calligraphal? Is that a word?
Sure.
Calligraphic.
We've made up words on this podcast before. Sure. Fuck it.
Atrium. Okay. But yeah, after we walk through the one room.
Now's a good time to hit your Crystarium or down an Ethersol or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's exactly one room of playing as Sazh. And as soon as we get to the other side, we then see Vanille, right? And she's run all the way into, I guess, the deepest part of the keep.
Spooky castle set.
Yeah, spooky castle set. And
this is where we do the play and the gold saucer.
Kind of, yeah. And there's a throne in front of her, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very kind of manic and kind of that very whimsical, like Luigi's Mansion kind of, everything is kind of leaning away from, like, nothing's like square. It's very haunted house looking.
Yeah, it seems like it's like a haunted house, like attraction.
Yeah. And she sees like a vision of Sazh in front of her, right?
Yeah, sitting on the throne, right? Or something? Or
it fades in purple light, and I immediately got the vibe of like, oh, this is like a Zoltar machine or something.
Yeah.
Like that. This is obviously not real, which you can kind of tell by the way he's talking and the like filter on the voice. It's like a
this is a mood ring attraction where it senses your deepest fears. And
that's what I thought.
To you.
Yeah, I was like, that's probably actually what it is, and it's like why the attraction is scary. Is
that thing probably is a fallacy.
Oh, maybe so.
Sure.
Yeah, good point.
But
yeah, Saz's like visage appears in purple on the throne, looking kind of cocky, but just completely negging her.
Oh yeah, it's so cruel. It calls her cold-blooded, and it's like, you've just been using people as shields. You're a coward and a killer.
You are cold-blooded. Lying so people would trust you. Using them as shields. How many you gotta drag down with you?
I'm
a coward and a killer.
Yeah, and she tries to kind of interject as he's saying all this stuff, like how many you got to drag down with you, and she's like, I'm, and he just says, a coward and a killer. The people you used don't get to live. Why should you? And all this time he's like pointing his gun at her.
Yeah, and then right before the as you said, Visage like pulls the trigger or whatever, he goes, tired of living with guilt, then die with it. And then it does like pull the trigger, but because it's like, you know, a hologram, it doesn't hurt her, but she does like wince and like move away as though it really did fire a bullet, which is like very stressful.
It's like this fun attraction, this fun spooky attraction was brought to you by Moco Cola. Pick some up at the gift shop.
But then the real Sazh runs up behind her, right?
Yeah.
And he says her name, but with like this tone that's like, it doesn't sound like Sazh. Like it's him and it's his voice or whatever, but like we know him as being like very caring, you know what I mean? And like very friendly. And he's just like, Vanille,
you got some splaining to do.
Yeah.
Vanille gets up and kind of with a very like intense look, like she's focused, like, okay, I'm just gonna face this.
She's facing the bed that she made, and she is ready to lie in it.
She says, like, my name is Oerba de Vanille. Yeah, Oerba de Vanille. She says it very smoothly, so it almost feels like it says Oberdir.
It's really smooth. Like, I think her town name is actually like Werba.
Oberdar. Life goes on.
It's hard to say without getting tripling over it.
My name is Erba de Vanille. I'm a Lassie from Grand Pulse. And to everyone on Cocoon, evil. Shoot me for your son.
Don't you even!
Don't you even, like, telling her, like, don't tell me what to do.
Yeah. It's really good because you'd think, like, I feel like a lesser story, like worse writing, would be like, oh, don't you even say to shoot you. I would never do that, or that's not going to solve anything, right? But like Sazh
or don't make me do it.
Yeah, Sazh is very
kind of thing where it's like, no, make like I should be my choice, like or whatever. Like maybe she's like he feels like she's trying to like take the agency away from him.
Well, that's the thing. I think that's what this game does, kind of, and it's better than just like I said, like a more of like, oh no, it's fine or whatever. Or not, it's fine, but like. They don't immediately have togetherness, and I like that about it. Like, it shows the tension between them. Because Sazh is like, oh, you think you can just die, and then that's that? He literally says, you think you die, and everything will be sugar and rainbows? And she's like, what do you want from me, then? Like, if you're not going to kill me, then, like, what do you want? If I can't live or die, what do you want me to do? And he's like, don't ask me. You have to figure it out.
Yeah.
And they're screaming at each other, too. They're just like...
This watching this back reminds me of Tom Hanks's movie The Burbs, where at the very end of it there's this really tense moment where like the two guys realize that like they're kind of the assholes in the situation, and Tom Hanks is just going off on the other dude, and he's like, they're not the ones who are like the problem in this neighborhood, it's us, like it's not them, it's us. And it's like this really moving, powerful scene, and the guy is just standing there like the other guy, and he just goes, I don't know, what do you want me to move? And Tom Hanks just looks at him and just charges him and tries to kick the shit out of him.
But Sazh, I think they're both coming to a realization where, like, yeah, Vanille is like facing her guilt, or maybe you said like facing the mess she's made. But Sazh is also like, it's too late. Like I can't.
It's too late. Yeah.
Yeah. Like nothing fucking matters. Like
Sazh's like journey, his quest, his focus is complete. So like, what am I gonna gain from?
Yeah. What is my purpose now at this point? Because like everything is just shit for me. And like Vanille, like, and again, a very good like just the face and everything, just very good performance where she like really looks distraught and just crying, and she says, "I don't know." And you can, it's like all of the emotions.
She's looking up like she's ready to take it.
All of these emotions are just like you can really feel it here. It's really good and really powerful.
He's been holding his brand a little bit too. I thought it was like maybe his heart, like because he's an older man.
I got really worried because we know that a huge emotional shock can turn you into a Sith. And, and he's like, I don't know either. And he puts his gun down and he's grabbing his brand, and he's like, yeah, it's over. There's nothing I can do. His special brand.
Yeah, he says, shooting you won't help, but neither will living. And then he like drops to one knee and his brand starts to glow, right? So,
yeah, and I was like, oh my God,
here we go.
I was like, I was convinced he was becoming a Sith. And I was like,
really?
Oh my God, dude, what the fuck? And then I was like, wait, no, I'm a dipshit. I know what this is.
The imbalance of this, like this kind of, I don't know, the feeling, like you imagine the explosion to come right from him, but instead you hear just boom, like this big sphere just erupts above him, which kind of gives you this kind of weird, like off balance feeling because you're kind of expected to come from below.
Yeah.
But it's the idyllic like writing on it and everything that we maybe recognize from like when we saw Odin or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's hurting bad, and this big sphere starts kind of assembling, and from it emerges this, you know, another strange looking mech thing with a lot of
leggies.
A lot of parts to it.
I like this one. I think the design of this one's pretty good.
Interesting design. Yeah. This is Brunhilde, right?
Yeah, Brunhilde. Yeah. And Sazh is just like resigned to get killed. At this point, he's just laying down, literally death, on his back. Yeah. And he says, "Do your worst, you freak." And Vanille runs in front of him and covers and just says, "It's not over." Or I'm sorry, it's not over.
Yeah,
over.
But from her side of her head, we see the gun, and he's shooting at.
Yeah, he has stood up and has started shooting at.
Which, that would easily just
Ow.
Yeah,
wreck
definitely.
her hearing. Like her
Yeah.
eardrum would be shattered with a gun that fucking close to her head going off. But a very cool, a very cool scene. But yeah, he just kind of starts shooting it, and
Yeah, he says, "Okay, fine. You want me? Come and get me." And we're in another Eidolon battle.
Yeah.
This is a really moving scene because Vanille like wipes her tears and like kind of almost like just half-heartedly joins the fight. Like, finally, let's do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe realizing that like, okay, he doesn't want to kill me, or like at least like can do his help to make things right.
Yeah. And
these two-person Eidolon battles are always really interesting.
I was gonna say we finally get one that I got on the first try.
Damn.
Yeah.
Nice. Someone actually came into my Twitch chat during this, and they were a big fan of 13 and said they beat it like 3 times, but on their most recent playthrough of it, this is the only, like, one of the first fights in their playthrough that they did not first try.
Really?
Yeah, this one I struggled with. I think...
the other ones I struggled.
I think this took me about like 45 minutes to actually like figure out and finish. And the only reason I was able to do it was because I had to do a very specific setup after retrying and being able to go through the Crystarium and unlock some things and set up different paradigms and stuff, because my first attempt, I don't think it would have been possible without like very precise timing and stuff.
Okay.
It looks like the Gestalt gauge will fill very quickly with Blitz.
Oh, really?
Oh, damn, really? Shit. I was like, it doesn't make sense to use Blitz against an enemy that
I use Ravager as my main, like...
With his Blitz greatly benefiting from Enfrost. Oh, okay, so if you like, you have Enfrost and Haste enabled, you can...
I did Enfrost.
I did use Enfrost, yeah. I was like, anything I can get to get one over. I think this took me like 4 or 5 tries. Specifically, but this is where I ended up finding Imperil just by accident. I was just going through the Crystarium with whatever I could get to try and give myself the edge, and I was like, what is Imperil? And then like people in my chat were kind of explaining it to me a little bit, and I was just like, okay, let's see how this works. And that's like the only way I was able to do enough damage. I think when I finally beat Brunhilde, I had like 80 seconds left on my Doom clock.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was by the skin of my teeth.
I guess, like, usually when I play RPGs nowadays, I, like, heavily prioritize stat buffing and debuffing things in pretty much any RPG. And so I think maybe that's why I was able to do it first try. It's just, like, out of, like, luck of the draw. It just so happened that I had chosen those things or whatever. And if I hadn't, I wouldn't have been able to do it.
It should be stated that the Gestalt meter raises because it likes when you, like, buff your allies. I forget the specific wording, but those who empower their allies, it will raise the Gestalt. So with Sazh, I was just starting as the synergist and just going all in, being like, okay, I'm going to put bravery on Sazh. I'm going to put the faith on Vanille. I'm going to do vigilance. Vigilance was actually extremely crucial for me here. It seems like a stat that might not really be all that helpful, but there was a lot of attacks that he would do that would just like knock me on my ass or stagger me so I can't get anything off. And it's like any second counts in this fight.
Yeah.
So I was just like, okay, Vanille, you're going to get vigilance. I'm going to have vigilance. I'm always going to keep that topped off anytime I can because I need any help I can get.
Right.
So the data log says yields to those who empower their allies and those who build chains. So yeah, you make sure you're constantly. I forgot the Japanese role, but
ravaging. Oh, okay. Synergy. Yeah. Okay.
Enhancers.
Yeah, the enhancers and the
jammers.
The jammers. Yeah.
Got away my jammers. But yeah, this thing turns into a Technics Lego car.
I fucking love it. I love it.
He does the opposite. So once you hit the Gestalt meter, he does the opposite of Speed Racer, where he jumps out of his car. He jumps up and the car kind of scoops him up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost he does a little Mario jump. This is like his. This is the Sid jump of this game.
I had 63 left on my Doom. I had 63 left on my Doom clock. I was so close to 69.
I didn't.
But yeah, as soon as he jumped into this car, I just started playing the Rainbow Road theme because I'm like, yeah, Sazh has his fun go-kart now.
I like that it has like the top of it looks like a little roll cage or something on top. It's cool.
It looks like the Homer.
It looks like the Homer. Oh my goodness. Oh god, I can remember to meme that later.
Mm-hmm. What was your guys' target time? Because obviously we're all going to get 5 stars because of that. These fights are structured so that you will always get them.
Right.
Mine was 28 minutes and 11 seconds, and I beat it in 2 minutes and 54, which was, I guess that means you only have 3 minutes to beat this fight, because I was like right towards the end of my Doom counter.
I had a target time of 22:40.
Interesting.
And beat it in 2:24.
Nice.
I do not have my info in front of me.
Podcast canceled.
Yeah, we get the Brynhildr Idolith. And more importantly...
And Sazh gets an ATB. Yeah.
Sazh gains an ATB.
Love it.
I forgot to translate all the... Because there's a lot of eidolonic text all over Brynhildr. Yeah. And it's really cool because it's like a red and black, kind of hellish looking design. I can't tell if does it have an axe or like a pickaxe, or is it like a crossbow?
Yeah, it's like a giant pickaxe crossbow hybrid.
It looks how I imagine characters in the Xenoblade, like monsters in the Xenoblade universe look. Like it looks like a Xenoblade from what I have seen of like concept art of that game.
But I know that one of the texts on either the summon graphics or the summon itself, it says Inferna Exus Gitada, which means hell raised.
Utada.
It's fucking brutal.
I love her music. Or their music, sorry.
Yeah. But yeah, we got that.
We get to the scene that I remember the most from this game.
Okay, before we get to this scene, because it's a very heavy one,
yes.
I want to point out that...
Content warning.
Yeah, for sure. But I also want to point out that Zwanzig in our Discord pointed out another slight hint about Vanille early on in the game, about her origin and about how she's a l'Cie, where when we first had the party, everyone had 2 ATB gauges. But Vanille had 3. And then we all got 3 when we were branded as l'Cie. So it's like we were still learning these mechanics and didn't know any kind of significance with that and stuff. And it's just like, oh shit, yeah, that hint was there. That's like the first hint that the game gives you that she's a l'Cie.
It's really good. I love how it's all woven in.
But yeah, content warning about self-harm and suicide in this section here.
Yeah, I could not believe this section the first time I played it. Like I ended this scene with mouth agape. Yeah,
this is rough, because I mean we every time we've gotten an Eidolon, there's been like, oh, that was the character changing moment. We now have this cool summon. Sazh gets a new ATB. Like everything's coming up, on the positive upswing here, and we kind of just get a shot of Sazh. And he's still looking really upset, understandably. And Vanille is winded from the fight, and he just points the gun directly at her, and she's kind of shocked.
She notices, and she slowly stands up to like. Yeah,
and he looks like he looks fucking pissed, and like.
She eventually like kind of again looks resigned, like, okay, do it.
Yeah, do what you got to do. Like, I deserve this kind of thing. She puts her arms out like she's ready to.
He stumbles toward her. He's like rage drunk. Like, because like at first she like sees it and like you can see the fear on her face, like, oh shit, and he starts stumbling toward her, right? And then she just stops and stands straight and then puts her arms out and is like, all right, do it.
Yeah, and then his face kind of softens a little bit.
A lot of things can be excused. Shooting kids ain't one.
Yeah.
Which solidifies Sazh as the anti-Reginald Valjeanson from Die Hard, where he will not shoot a kid.
I haven't seen Die Hard, I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
I know it's a classic, and I haven't seen it.
It's Carl Winslow, and there's a moment where he reveals that the reason that he's not in on the action as a cop is because he shot a kid. He says,
okay.
I shot a kid.
Okay. But when he says shooting kids ain't one, and he turns around. And you see just Vanille fall to her knees, and she like starts weeping, right?
She's weeping, and Chocobo Chick is fluttering around her head as well.
Right.
And at her feet, we see like thunder is like it seems like it's probably all synthetic, but thunder and lightning is going off, and we see like a silhouette of Sazh holding his pistol to his head.
Yeah. Before that, he's like looking at his gun as we see that, and there's a voiceover where Vanille says, kindness like his, you don't ever forget.
Yeah.
I don't know. Saying not to shoot someone, I don't really consider as a kindness.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Sazh just has the gun up against his head, and he says, "Enough is enough." And Vanille, we just get a shot of Vanille's face, like,
oh
horrified.
my god, horrified. You can see all of her teeth. That's awful.
Yeah, she covers her face in her hands, and then the screen goes dark, and we just hear a gunshot bang.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And holy fucking shit, I did not expect that whatsoever. I remember even, like, again, this whole chapter has just kind of been like weird whiplash of like, oh, this is happening. Oh no, it's something else. Oh no, this is actually happening. Like thinking that Dodge was just a hologram or whatever, thinking Sazh was turning into a Seath and all of that. And then it's like with this, like it's still like, it just kept hitting me, and I was just like, what the fuck is happening in this game? Like before this, when he was like holding up the gun and like getting ready to shoot her and stuff, and then he's like, shooting a kid is not something that can be forgiven and stuff. I'm just like, why are you being so fucking dramatic, dude? And then I was like, oh, like no, he maybe actually was going to, and then thought better of it, and then was just like, no, this is what I have to do. And I was like, oh my god, like
yeah, it's rough,
real fucking rough. And then we got one more quick scene before we change to the next chapter, and it's just the a ship that is docked with Jill Nabat standing there looking.
This is basically the episode 3 Star Wars episode 3 funeral.
Yeah.
And fucking Jill's still just being smug as hell.
Yeah, she's
too.
smug. She's real proud of herself. And
she has the cool insignia on her arm too, but they're blue. I'm just like keeping an eye out on like different the different design languages between the different departments and stuff. But we do see like lines of the core lined up leading up to the Devil's Keep, and out from it is almost like a funeral kind of.
Yeah, it's like the end of the Helena music video. Might come with less dancing and cheerful singing.
They're walking the Sazh coffin down. Like, what's the worst that I could say?
We see Saz's feet in point shoes, and he just starts doing like a really cool like point dance as he's walking down the aisle. Man, I wish my reaction to everything wasn't just fucking comedy and jokes, because this is a very like moving and powerful scene, and I'm just like, oh.
They're floating him out on what basically is a coffin, but it's like a miniature vestige. With like the face showing, so you can still see.
And we see
him.
his face, and it like, not to be morbid or anything, but it doesn't look like any kind of gunshot wound is there that we can see, I would imagine. But behind it, right at the top, is Vanille, and she's in the outfit that we first saw her in, which is
in her purge garb.
The hooded
almost like sacrificial, like they're on our death march pretty much. It seems like it's a real bummer.
It's a real bummer.
And Jill says, "Do be careful with those."
She's so pleased.
And Vanille like hears her say that, and she like rolls her eyes and shit.
Yeah.
She takes off her glasses again and says, "For every task, there's a perfect tool."
Yeah!
And then she smiles even more smugly, and
she loves Tool.
And then Vanille, we get another narration that says, "All of Cocoon was against us. With us dead, they were sure everything would go back to the way it was before."
Boom.
Yeah, let's all just go back to the status quo.
What a
Let's
chapter.
not think any deeper than that. Let's just go back to that status quo, baby.
Yeah. What a scene. What a chapter.
What a fucking scene.
Oof.
I also want to point out that I was streaming my first time seeing this on Twitch, and right at the big moment with Sazh at the end there, the really fucking horrifying and awful moment, I had a first time chatter in my chat, and the only message that they said was this and then nothing else, and it was just F. And then nothing else. Respect.
Imagine just going to like different like streams, just waiting for like the most devastating moments.
Hey
in the
man,
game, like,
that is leagues better than people who come in right before moments and spoil shit.
No, yeah. That's wild.
Shout out to that person.
or just being a real creep.
Yeah, there's no shortage of that as well.
Getting a little too friendly. God, Jill's outfit is ridiculous.
So
I just
dumb.
realized she has like what are those leggings you wear that like kind of like add different like tone to your legs. Like, I don't know what we call those. Like they're basically
kind of like
leggings,
stockings,
but she has them
or
for
whatever.
her chest.
Yeah, she's got a cleave window stocking. Like,
her character design, I mean, the art is really good in this game. Damn. But she gives a little smirk, like she's pleased.
She does.
Oh, I'm thinking.
So
I think we're
grim.
thinking pantyhose. Pantyhose.
Yes, she has like pantyhose material on her chest underneath her little orange tie.
I know that my fiance taught me recently the difference between leggings and stockings. Leggings don't have the little foot thing.
Okay. Yeah, she's cruel and
she's so cruel. She's awful.
She's cruel and unusual, but not in the fun Cyndi Lauper she's so unusual way. Just in the fucked up way.
Just in a fucked up way.
Then we get a prompt to save, and I think that is where we're gonna leave it for this week, because leaving it on an up note, you know.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I get chills thinking about that scene. It's so good.
Fucking Final Fantasy, man. Every single game has a way of affecting you, you know.
I know. I know that
this one. I'm all in on this one. So this one definitely hit really, really hard.
You know, I feel like obviously with a lot of people were emotionally affected by FF7, by the big plot twist or whatever in that one, right? But I think it's fun that they continue to write bravely without going so far as to just be shocking.
Yeah, absolutely. Because this is all believable shit.
I feel like there's a lot of modern games that are maybe critically acclaimed from studios like Naughty Dog that maybe try to push the envelope a little too hard just for the sake of trying to push the envelope.
Well, I love that shit, but I understand what you mean. Yeah,
tasteless sometimes, but this feels like it's so emotionally like reinforced. Like it feels like it earned. Instead of, you know.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like just, you know, trauma Olympics.
Exactly. And I feel like that's like it feels like the writers are really showing their skill and experience in that way. That
it doesn't feel cheap to be like, oh well, what if we made this character kill a dog or something like that, you know? Like it seems more like just like, oh no, this is a very believable thing that would happen in this universe. And yes, it is shocking, and yes, it is like horrifying, but it's like the story unfolded in this way and led to this moment in a very natural kind of way. And these are like real situations. I mean, obviously not the, you know, magic shit, but like emotionally.
I keep wishing we were with the other party until we're at the end of a chapter. I'm like, well, I really hope it's going better for you.
It's like we had.
Hey, the other party got to hang out with Kurt Russell, so it probably is going better for them.
Yeah, this game cannot go 4 minutes without having one of the characters want to kill the other one. One of the other ones. Like, God.
Dude, I'm gonna lose my shit when we have 6 party members in the same location.
Oh my goodness!
Which feels like it will never happen at this point.
Yeah. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
Ooh. It's a messy thing. I can just say things are gonna get a little better next episode.
Yeah, I think it immediately kind of cuts over into a scene with the rest of the party, and it's all, you know, back to the kind of Joss Whedon kind of buddy.
Back to the fucking Joss Whedon shit.
We're on the airship with the Avengers around the table.
The Lindblom, the Winter Soldiers there.
Anytime
cool,
we're on the fucking Lindblom, I'm always like, oh god, yeah. All the dialogue is always so dumb.
Yeah, so better times are ahead.
Redg is like, we got a Hulk.
Alex, do you want to respectfully take us to the end of the podcast, because making some sort of joke feels cheap now, even though I've been making jokes ever since we talked about that.
I'm kidding. Go ahead.
A coward and a killer.
Boom! We did it!
Alex, do you want to usher our coffin down the stairs?
Wait, hold on. Wait. No, I have the best one. I gotta look through my photos again. Okay, where is it? Alex, would you like to get our waterworks going?
Wow, that is actually a good one. Man, it's been a bad day for Vanille.
Oh, it's been such a bad day for Vanille.
I'm surprised.
It's the worst. I'm surprised
like no one's become a Seath just from this shit. Oh my god!
Every time, like, this is very Gold Saucer, because it is just a lot of just like, ooh boy, this. A lot of just mess.
Yeah.
Messy topics, especially like the Dine thing.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, thank you to Masashi Amauzu for the game music. Be sure to rate, review, and subscribe to us on iTunes and Spotify. You can listen to us also, Curtis and I talked to on the VG Draft. I guested on most recently, I think, talking about 2001, which is when Final Fantasy X came out.
He gave away one of the games.
I didn't say, but I drafted that one.
I don't recall saying good luck.
But But yeah, if you would like to hear 2/3 of this podcast in another stream, go check that out. But you can also text us or leave us a message at 530-MATERIA. Give us your daddy facts.
Yeah.
Maybe dethrone Sweet Matter,
That's
daddy
the daddy
mommy.
queen.
You can find us at EveryFNFF on Twitter, Instagram, and our YouTube, where we have this episode and random content if I decide to put them up
We
there.
have several YouTube episodes that do not yet have somebody who has commented first.
Oh,
so
shit.
If you would like to do that.
Not if I can help it.
Yeah.
We got Home from Final Fantasy X blowing up with Vengabus playing over it.
Oh, yeah. I made a dumb one today because there was a Pokemon trailer that the new like Terraform or whatever the fuck it's called, where the Pokemon turn into crystals and then they have a different form or whatever. And I just put Sarah's theme over like the trailer that they showed of like the kid very like it's like a long scene of him running up to a shining Jigglypuff that's just off in the distance, and like it's just when the vocals come in, it's right when Jigglypuff like transforms into the crystal and stuff. And I was just like, data log update, Jigglypuff has fulfilled her focus and turned into a crystal and has entered crystal stasis.
And yeah, it's podcast time, little lady.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.